The time will pass away. You can either spend it creating the life you want or spend it living the life you don't want. The choice is yours.
I choose to spend it living the life I don't want.
Same.
What a mood.
At this point.
It's interesting. Whoever, it's unknown, but whoever said that did not live in a capitalist society.
I was gonna say,
You do not get that choice in the United States of America.
They did not live in a society.
God.
Do we want to clap at 20? Gives everybody plenty of time.
We'll just stretch out. So I've been using the NVIDIA broadcast microphone noise removal stuff, and I found out clapping, it does a really good job at removing that.
Oh.
So I turned it off for this clap.
Interesting.
That's very funny.
Hello, and welcome to episode 160 of the Gaming Fyx podcast on February 20th, 2021. I am your host, Andre Cole, aka your partner's favorite moment in The Lord of the Rings. I am joined today by Pat.
Favorite what character in Lord of the Rings?
Favorite moment.
Oh, favorite moment. I actually don't know. You know, we haven't watched Lord of the Rings together. My favorite moment is my friends you about to know one at the end, when at Aragorn's coronation, when the hobbits bow, and then it makes you cry because you're like, he's like acknowledging that they did more work than he did, and it's pretty awesome. That's a good moment.
Allison.
I have a very strong affection for Sam, the character in Lord of the Rings, but also Sam from our podcast. But the end. But
more for Sam from Lord of the Rings.
Listen,
be honest.
If Sam from Lord of the Rings was a real person, I'd be like, let's be best friends. But the I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you is like.
Oh yeah.
It's a mood. And Alex.
I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings person, but I do like the part where Frodo's like waking up at the very end, specifically because of the parody video, which I find very hilarious.
Take this
no
class
on the show.
ruined it.
Aragorn.
I am rewatching the series and it fucking rips.
Oh yeah,
it's really good.
Now, like I really should rewatch those because I've seen all.
You know
of
what you should do is you should buy them on 4K.
I shouldn't do that.
I don't have a 4K TV, but at the same time, that sounds really good.
I do have a 4K TV, but
and you got that UHD Blu-ray player with the PS5.
The issue is
editions 4K. Oh, it looks so good.
I received the last Blu-ray release as like of the extended editions,
but that one's fucked up and it's got like a color tint issue.
I understand, but it's sitting on my shelf and I feel like, what am I going to just throw that in the dumpster?
No,
sell it to someone who doesn't know better.
Versions of everything, like I do. I have a couple. There's a few movies I love where I'm like, I have every edition of it. Man.
That's starting for me with books, and I can't keep going down that road.
Oh no,
hey,
keep going.
I have 3 copies of Annihilation now.
Hey, Blu-rays are small.
Not the Lord of the Rings extended edition.
Compared to books.
Hey, they can fit like maybe, well, I guess 4K. They got to use like 2 4K Blu-rays for Lord of the Rings. So
is it like the old DVD extended editions where you have to change the disc halfway through the movie? They get to Rivendell and you have to swap the disc out.
It's if you had these on VHS, it's that size.
Oh gosh.
It looks like
I don't know. I don't have it because it costs like $200
it's so
US in
expensive.
Japan. It's like $80 in the US. It's $200 in Japan. Yeah.
I'm looking right now at the Fast and Furious 8 movie collection in 4K.
Oh yeah.
It's only $90. That's not that bad.
Yeah, for $8
$80 at Target.
Bad. Yeah. can we all agree that there has never been better special features on a movie set than there were on Lord of the Rings?
Then Jack Black with the Prince Albert at the Council of the Elrond or whatever.
You know, yes, except Star Wars. The Star Wars Blu-ray set has some really good special features.
Oh God damn it!
There's the moment when Ewan McGregor is doing a fight scene and he rolls off the mat, and someone is like, he like rolls off the mat after doing a lightsaber fall, and then he looks at one of the like texts and is like, they said, "Do you want to do a Star Wars?" And I said, "Too fucking right." It's very good. You can tell he is just having an absolute blast.
You want to do a Star Wars?
Gosh.
Also,
doesn't
the Star
want to do a
Wars.
Star Wars?
I mean,
Star Wars
honestly,
special.
Everyone in their right mind wants to be in a Star Wars movie. Come on.
yeah. Ooh,
Star Wars Special Edition VHS is real bad in a great way.
Yeah, we had that when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. We had that when I was a kid too.
They're like, we added Han Solo, or we added Jabba here in CGI, and we saw Han Solo had to walk behind him.
And he walked on the tail, and he went.
I believe that is the noise that he made. Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen that version so many times that I'm like.
Yeah, isn't that like the only version that's readily available? Like,
yeah, I mean, well, that's like that's been in that version since the special edition.
yeah,
so.
and like that's the only isn't that the only version that's like put out now? Like they don't put out like the theatrical cut anymore.
No. That's why I went down a rabbit hole where I was like, should I buy a LaserDisc player? Because the best version of the theatrical cut that is on like home media,
physical media,
yeah, that you can watch is the LaserDisc. So I had that thought of like, do I buy a LaserDisc so that I can get so I can get Star Wars?
Is you turn off or you turn on your VPN and then you download Harmy's Despecialized edition. Which is really good.
Yeah, but that doesn't involve you buying a like machine that is wildly outdated so that you can watch.
You could get a DVD burner if you wanted.
So
Wildly updated.
You actually have a DVD burner if you need use of it.
we went from I'm not gonna buy a 4K Blu-ray of Lord of the Rings because I already have it to what if I bought a LaserDisc to watch
For what it's worth, I do think that was my hang
to do
up.
a Star Wars.
I know
There's a really good chance that I'm going to end up buying this.
It's just, buying a TV feels different than like, I don't know, buying a LaserDisc player.
Not even buying a TV, just buying like, I already own this. Like I own it on a different medium. I don't need to buy it.
Oh, that was Pat's hang up. I would buy it, but I just can't. Yeah. I just don't have a 4K TV, and I don't really want to buy one.
And so you're telling me that the PS5 is a 4K UHD Blu-ray player?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
It would be absurd if it wasn't because like Blu-ray is like Sony's thing.
Not that much.
But
okay.
It would be absurd if it wasn't, but it's that's no guarantee.
No, but it is.
There was a period of time where if you didn't activate the fact that your PS3 or whatever was a DVD player, it was you couldn't do it anymore. So
and rest in peace, digital edition people.
Yes.
God, now I'm looking at 4K TVs. Why are we doing this to me?
Well, we're doing it because we're here to talk about video games.
Do you want to know
good for video games too?
You know what's infuriating and also good for video games? I have a 4K TV, but it doesn't have HDR. So it's like, do I buy a new television just to have HDR?
And just throw that one in the trash.
Well, I would have to, because who wants a fucking 4K TV without HDR? I mean, it's not the fault of it's not the TV's fault. It came out at a time when 4K was proliferating, but not everything had HDR. But
mount it in the bathroom opposite the toilet.
If you could see how small my bathroom is, you wouldn't be able to stand up then without hitting your head on the TV. So
did you saw that LTT video where they put the TV in the bathtub?
No, yes. I don't think I have.
they mounted a TV over his bathtub so like it could pull down and there's like a sound bar and like
I once
a PC connected to it.
I had very wealthy friends that had a shower room. Like they had a room there was like the bathroom, and then like a room the size bigger than my bathroom that was just a shower.
I've got one of those,
and you could like walk around it.
Yep, I've got one of those.
Do you really?
I mean, I could like I can step around it. It is bigger than a. It is
we're not
bigger.
talking about the same thing.
I know, but it is bigger than a shower.
You're talking about a shower.
Japanese like showers are just. It's a room, like,
but a very small room.
Yeah, it's bigger than.
It's big enough.
It's bigger than some bathrooms I've been in.
So let me say,
in the States.
You could play like a sport, like you could have a wrestling match in this person's shower. Like you could,
it's like a locker room shower.
Yeah, I mean it's like almost like a sauna or something, but a big one. You could like jog around the outside of it. It was that big.
I knew someone as a kid who had a sauna. That was fun.
I think they could use this as a sauna.
I would like a sauna. That'd be nice. The thing that I think about that, like my rich friend in high school had, that I always wanted is she had like a full home theater, but it was like very decked out home theater of like separate room, had these big like recliners that were all in a row, and it was like best projection system you could have. And I was like, oh, that's the only thing I want if I was rich.
My
movie theater at home.
I think I mentioned this on a recent podcast. My friend's family had something similar, but then underneath the projector were two more like 43-inch TVs. So we would LAN Xboxes together in there and just play like Halo Forge.
That's amazing.
With like 12 people. Yeah, it was real silly.
My wealthy friend had a Taco Bell.
Oh God, I believe you. The only thing about having a movie theater at home is you're still never going to get like quite the same as the like at the movie theater.
No, but it's like you need to have both.
And I feel like it would make going to the movies less special if you could just walk down the hallway and sit in your home theater, you know? I
mean, I'm going to the movie theater because I want to see something new, and like if I'm watching something at home, like
popcorn, talk to the bartender at my local movie theater who I think about like very frequently. I hope she's doing okay. Yes.
That's very
about her all the time because I'm like, I hope you're doing okay.
I guess
I'm assuming you haven't been in to work, but like you're very nice. Told me good for you when I said I was seeing Detective Pikachu.
I guess what I worry about is if you're that wealthy, can you even have a simple movie going experience? Because like,
I mean, like they were wealthy, but they weren't like, you
just ran out the whole theater.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just not the same. It's just not the same. It's not the same as like the excitement of going to the movies. I have a theater at home, so
of seeing something like A Quiet Place and everybody's trying not to make noise. There's an energy to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Where everybody's sitting there going and then somebody coughs and you're just like, yes, what the fuck did you do?
When I saw A Quiet Place, there was like a couple sitting like 4 rows in front of us, and I can't remember. The guy did something pretty innocuous. Like it wasn't anything like the theater didn't get mad at him. He like coughed or like cleared his throat or something, and his partner, or I assume his partner sitting next to him, was like, shut the fuck up. And you could hear that like audibly move through the entire theater, and then everybody laughed. It was very good.
My best one where everybody laughed was seeing Moana in theaters. And you know the part in Moana where she sees like the ghost of her grandmother, right? And her like grandmother comes up as a spirit and she's all blue. And there was a kid near me that said, why is she blue now? And everybody, we're all just like trying to keep it in, like their laughter in. It was
basically so the last third of Rise of Skywalker when I saw it at the theater was people laughing like it was literally intended as a comedy.
Oh, I wish that was my theater because like I was sitting there going like, trying to like hold it in, but nobody else is laughing.
We
and
were
I'm
very
here,
like,
I'm sitting here going like I think the furthest the hardest I broke was when they said she was a Palpatine, and I think I just felt like I just
everyone laughed when they kissed. Everyone laughed when they kissed because it was a terrible kiss and it was stupid.
I saw it, I'm so mad.
And then when Kylo Ren dies, like several people were like, "Oh, come on!" And then
spoilers.
And then at the end of the movie, you don't need to see this movie.
Yeah.
Just read the synopsis. At the end of the movie, when she's like, "I'm Rey Skywalker," people just started to get up and leave when she said, "I'm Rey Skywalker," like before the credits rolled. Pat,
you had a very perfectly timed like little stutter there of calling her Rey Skywalker.
Oh no, no,
like,
I did that.
What if she was? Can her name be Rey Skywalker?
Man, I saw a stupid meme a long time ago where she says, "I'm Rey Skywalker," and it's very funny.
Okay, because if it's Jar Jar-y, then fuck, that would have made it so much better.
No.
Anyways, like video game podcast, right? We don't have that.
They announced a Star Wars video game this week.
Was it announced or was it like?
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they
Star
did.
Wars Hunters.
It's not out on. It's not out on mobile yet. It was announced.
Oh, okay. I feel like Pat and I had the exact same trajectory with that.
We're seeing
it, where we're both like, is that
News.
a Star Wars? And then we see Zingo, we're like, oh.
I didn't even notice the logo at first. So
I didn't either. And then you said, oh, it's a mobile game. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Here's $1. Go buy a microtransaction in the Star Wars.
What else was in that direct?
Are we going straight to that?
What is happening? I've lost control of this podcast.
I don't.
There was some cool stuff in that direct, but there was some real bad stuff in that direct.
I think if we're going to the direct, then no, there's no game talk. You have to make a choice. You can't go to the direct and then go backwards. So,
Allison, what do you think of Mario 3D World?
I mean, it's a good game. I mean, like, I feel like I forgot how much I liked it until I played it. And I was like, dang, this game is really good. You know, it's really good level design. And it's been really fun to revisit and play on the Switch because Nintendo is continuing to make the Wii U less of a thing that I need to actually still have in my apartment, which I do. But it's a really great game that has been really fun to play. Especially just a lot of the like I said, level design is really great, and I feel like I didn't appreciate how good I liked Cat Mario as a power up until I was like, well, Cat Mario is a good power up for these games. So I don't know if I have much more to say than that about 3D World because I think you said you played it, right?
Yeah, we talked about it last week when we had Bread here, and
I'm bummed I missed that one, but yeah.
It's fun. It's good. I think my takeaway was that like you can very much tell this was made by the Galaxy team.
Oh, absolutely. Where it's
each level feels like one of those discrete, like they sat down and really designed something super unique and awesome for each one of these with like some theme in mind and like executed on it super well. Yeah,
and then it's designed just really cleverly.
Yeah.
Too, which is really nifty. So it's been fun to play that. Yesterday I actually played a little bit of the Bowser's Fury edition. Have you played any of that yet?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I've just played a little bit of it. It's interesting because I feel like it's really trying to be kind of like a mixture of like an Odyssey and 3D World, where it's like you're kind of running around this large, discrete, this large area, but then you can jump into like little platforming challenges in the middle of things.
It is the closest take to a 3D world. As in like a Super Mario World, but like in an open world 3D.
Yeah,
kind of
exactly. It's like trying to be. It's like I've seen that it's not necessarily super like it's sizable, but it's not, you know, a full game, obviously. But I've seen people suggest that it might be kind of what they're aiming for with a future kind of 3D Mario game, and I think that'd be interesting, where you can kind of jump into some of these little challenges to get the things, but it's still kind of an open world. It's a very unique setup, I think. So it's been fun to give it a shot and just play around with. So I'm excited to give both that and 3D World proper and play a little bit more of those. Although there's just too many video games out right now, so who knows?
Wait.
Oh,
what other video games are out right now?
Well, it's not out yet, but Persona 5 Strikers is coming out soon.
Oh,
and
it's out today?
Is
that right?
I thought it was out like later. If it's out today, then it's like fuck every other game. I'm playing that now.
February 20th,
February
2020.
20th.
God
there you
damn
go.
it!
Today.
Oh wait, no, that's only Japan.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, it's been
Worldwide
out
is
in
the
Japan.
23rd.
What? I thought it was already out in Japan. What the fuck?
No, it just came out in Japan. I mean, this is just Wikipedia.
23rd on Steam.
But it's also 23rd on Switch and PS4 worldwide.
Okay.
I mean, this
Fair
is
enough.
just on Wikipedia, so maybe they're.
Yeah, that's what PlayStation. What? I thought it was. I thought this game has been out for like 6 months in Japan.
No, I guess they're doing closer releases for Persona now.
I've not been following. What is Persona 5 Strikers? Like, I know
It's
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 basically like a Muso, but also it's a
okay.
sequel to Persona 5.
But
The
it,
story
yeah,
But also
is the sequel to Persona 5, yeah.
But it's a specifically a sequel to Persona 5, not Persona 5 Royal, which is very weird to me.
Huh.
But
That is weird. So is it kind of like the story mode for the fighting game for 4 and how that kind of continued the story?
I didn't play the fighting game before, so I cannot
it was
say.
is a visual novel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it continued
but
the
I mean,
story.
there's also continuing
Yeah.
story, and I think that there's
Kind of.
like for this you can continue. Like I think that the combat's like a little bit different from like a normal Muso, so it's got kind of a Persona flair to it,
It's
and also
more. It's kind of. I read it's kind of like action. Like I don't know exactly, but like more actiony than like Muso games are actiony, but it's like veers towards like the Persona style, but more actiony and not turn based.
yeah, and then also there's like you can hang out with your characters and stuff like that. So it's something that I'm interested to play. So I'm probably just gonna drop everything the second it comes out. But
Can you summon Belphegor?
is that the toilet demon?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
like the first Persona you fight in.
Oh, that's right, in Persona 5.
Persona
5. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, is that? Yeah, that is the one who.
I started reading
I love
Jujutsu
that, like-
Kaisen, and that has a lot of like Persona-esque stuff going on with its like curses and whatnot.
Yeah,
It's
but
interesting.
I mean, there's a lot there. Also, I still need to get back to Ryza 2, but it's 3D World and Bowser's Fury is a good game, and
It is.
it's been fun to revisit. So I'm into it.
All right. How about, speaking of the direct earlier, how about what shapes do you like, Allison? you like a square, like a square soft,
Octagons? I don't know.
Square Enix.
You're a fan of Polygon, right?
Yeah, I like Polygon.
You like Square Enix?
Yeah, I do.
Like a circle K.
I've
Yeah,
never
just-
been to a Circle K,
I think- I think about gas stations every time I think about video games. So
oh, who doesn't?
It's a gas
You've used-
station. Resident Evil 2, pretty good.
When is the last time you held a dodecahedron in your hand?
Ooh.
Like a 20-sided die.
Exactly.
I was gonna say that's a fairly frequent occurrence for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like literally right before the pandemic when I was playing D&D with some friends. But
Yeah.
anyways, I get this is a very good segue over to I played the demo for Project Triangle Strategy, most of it at least. I think there's 2 main battles that you can play, but there's a lot of other content, especially with story. And one of the big things that you do in this is the kind of convincing people to do anything. So did you guys have you guys checked out the demo at all or looked into anything about this game other than just what was in the direct?
Just what was in the direct.
Just what was in the direct, and people on Twitter saying it's kind of a spiritual successor to like Final Fantasy Tactics. Or
That's shocking based on what was in the direct.
Yeah, no, it's a lot more. Yeah, I was
Looked
like
exactly like Final Fantasy Tactics. So
yeah,
I was looking on the phone screen, so I was like, I don't know what's going on here.
I have to say, as somebody that really likes as the Octopath Traveler fan, I yelled at my TV when I saw the graphics show up.
it looks really good.
I was
It's
like,
even better than
2D
Octopath.
HD.
The
Yeah.
2D HD, I was just like, it's happening.
Yeah,
And then they
Octopath
decided,
looked awesome, and this game looks even better. It has like
Yeah.
really cool
Yeah.
particle effects and stuff.
yeah, and then they're taking that Octopath team and they're making a tactics game about it. So I played
God.
most. So I joked in our chat where I was saying it's like the Junji Ito Amigara Fault. It's made for me.
Yeah,
And
it's like Coheed and Cambria coffee. It's proof that you're the only real person.
yeah, where I was
Someone
like,
made something so
made
specifically for
Octopath
you.
Traveler, and but also it's a strategy tactics RPG. I'm like, man. But anyways, this game fucking rolls, and I'm so excited
That's
for
cool.
it.
It looks
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, because I feel like the strategy, like the strategy is a lot more complex than I ever did with like something like a Fire Emblem. It really wants you to be strategic. And I think at the beginning of the demo, it says like, hey, we've upped the difficulty a little bit for this section, just so that you can experience the full strategy. And I think it shows because it's very much like it really is so important how you both position yourself and how you move the characters around. And it does it in a way that, I mean, other tactics RPGs have done before, but it works really remarkably well here. So for example, like positioning is really important where your character can be facing any, for any of the 4 directions, right? Front, back, left, right. If you backstab somebody, that is a lot more significant damage. And also if you get 2 characters on each side of an enemy, you both do an attack. So it really focuses hard on the positioning, both with like that space, but then also they mentioned vertically, which I know that Pat, you're like, yeah, that's a tactics RPG thing. Yeah. But it really, like, for example, like the bigger the verticality you have is some of the attacks you have might be stronger. So like, for example, if you have like a bow, the gravity makes it a lot stronger if you're going from up to down versus if it was further, if it was like on the ground. So it like really plays with the verticality in fun ways. And then also you're kind of constantly moving stuff around the battlefield too. Like one character specifically can make like an ice wall appear. So I was just like, all right, I need to like...
May.
Exactly. But I was like, all right, there's a lot of enemies and I don't want to deal with these couple. So I'm going to just like block these off so that I can deal with these and deal with that later. And just like, there's a lot of strategy at play. And I didn't even really get into any of the elemental stuff beyond just some of the bulkier enemies were weaker to ice and fire than physical attacks. So it's like, yeah.
Did the demo show any of the out of combat stuff that you'll be doing?
Yes.
Like, does it?
Yeah.
And like Fire Emblem, does it have like that kind of the people in your party and their relationship to each other? Like, does that Inku, whatever? Does that give you bonuses?
I haven't noticed any of the if it gives you any sort of bonuses, but it absolutely does spend a lot of time on the outside of combat. Like I didn't end up doing the second battle because I felt like I'd kind of seen most of what the game really was, and I know that I'm going to play this game as soon as I can. But according to like the Kotaku article about playing it, he said that even though there's only 2 battles, there's still like 5 hours of content in here. Huh. So a lot of it is story, where you just kind of see these cutscenes of story, which the story I think is good. A lot of it is kind of slightly stereotypical kind of fantasy nonsense.
God, you're telling me the Salt Iron War?
That's what I was gonna say. It was so funny when on the screen it just goes salt, iron. Salt Iron War. It's like, I was like, oh,
salt. I have an iron.
Yeah.
Salt Iron War.
I mean, the shit piss war was that meme that someone made afterwards made me laugh very hard for a solid minute.
It's like, I thought I ended up finding it interesting, but the setup is a little bit funny. But
it's crunchy. If it's got crunchy tactics, at the end of the day, it's fine. Whatever the setup is.
Yeah, and I think that it goes some interesting places with the. It's really trying to be kind of like, here's all these political machinations of everybody going on. So it's like less about like the importance of iron and salt or whatever, and it's more about like, hey, this is the setup so that these characters can have political intrigue.
What I hope, I feel like a lot of video games, like Trails is a good example of a game that actually manages to do this, but I feel like a lot of video games lean into that, the political machinations, and then the depth of that is like, this person's son betrayed them. It's never like Game of Thrones is like deep and has like complex plot lines with lots of characters interacting, whereas it seems like video games kind of sort of dumb it down to an extent in a way that is like, come on, I want something actually crunchy.
I think this has potential to be closer to the Game of Thrones
that would be cool.
model. I don't know if it will, but one of the other aspects of this demo is the kind of decision-making system, where basically it does kind of your decisions matter for the story, but you're not the only.
I believe it's choices and consequences.
Yeah. The lost Jane Austen novel. Where you specifically aren't making the decisions all by yourself. So here, one of the things is that there was a betrayal where somebody's trying to take over one of the kingdoms, and so the prince of that kingdom and his companions have fled to one of the kind of smaller, they call them domains, so kind of the smaller house, basically, and they're hiding there, but everybody knows they're there, and the question is, okay, do we hand him over to the evil people or do we not? And it's because basically we as like one of the smaller houses don't have the resources to take on the larger house, but if we turn him over, we would save all these people's lives, but at the same time it would have like these political ramifications potentially, and so it's like there's a to the point where the prince is like, yeah, turn me over, like, fuck it. But then you have to go in and you wander through town and you have to find out like specific informational things so that you can try to convince people to go to your side of the argument. So for this one, just like as a thing, I was like, okay, I'm going to go for, no, we can't turn him over. We can't do that. We have to protect him. So I had to go find, I found evidence that said, hey, we might have some traps laying around town, so that might help. So it's like coming up with this evidence and then going over and having conversations where they're like, yeah, I don't want to turn him over, but at the same time, like, we can't sacrifice the people's lives for one person. And then you go, but you know, this one person died. Would you want him to die in vain? And then the person might be convinced by that and they might not be. And then everybody has to cast their vote and see where the things lie. So since you're only one vote, you have to be kind of engaged in that system of convincing people. It seemed pretty light so far, but I mean, I'm hoping that's just kind of it because it's the demo and presumably like one of the first ones you would encounter that way. Yeah. But it seemed like potential is there. Yeah.
Have you ever played the original Dragon Age?
Yes.
Okay, because I was gonna say some of that just sounds really similar to that. Like it's not obviously not the same system, but like how your party has agency and they make their own decisions, which I think is a cool thing that hasn't been touched upon by enough games. So yeah,
and especially since like they specifically go, okay, we're gonna make this decision as a group, so you have to operate as a member of that group, like a very respected member of that group, but ultimately like as one of the members of the group. So and I think that works well here. And it's like I said, like you can only find a few pieces of evidence when you're wandering around town that are like, hey, there are traps here that might help in the thing, or hey, there's evidence that maybe that if we turn him over, it's likely that they won't immediately kill him. So if you're trying to convince people to turn him over, you'd be like, hey, he'll be safe, and then maybe we can come get him out later. So there is pretty light, but there's a lot of, I feel like, potential there. So I think that's the thing that I felt most while playing this is like, man, if they do this right, it could be like fucking phenomenal. But yeah, I don't know if I'd necessarily tell people to play the demo because it's very much like a demo. And from what I've heard, they're going to be doing the same thing that they did with Octopath, where it's like you give feedback, which I'm planning on doing. But I feel like, again, that if they pull this off, it could be like one of my favorite games ever, maybe. Because I'm like,
that's exciting.
Again, like the meme, it was made for me.
So with Octopath, they announced Octopath and they said, this is Project Octopath Traveler. So are you ready for triangle strategy to release in like 2023?
Not. I hope
so. That's a great name.
It's hilarious.
It's kind of dumb, but I mean,
it's like a fake video game.
It is a fake video game, but like I don't know. It's I will be interested in whatever this game ends up being, to be honest. So it's
all right.
It seems cool.
The Salt Iron War.
The Salt Iron War.
The Salt Iron Conflict.
I make PPAP jokes too often at school. It's my students are the target audience for that. All right, well, that was Allison's games for the week. Alex, I see you're back on some bullshit.
Yeah, I had a really busy week. I continued playing Mario 3D World. I'm at the fifth world. I imagine there's a hidden sixth one. And I've also been playing some more Final Fantasy 14.
So where are you at?
I'm back in Stormblood kind of stuff. Just doing some side stuff, doing some side dungeons. There's some really good ones in there. It's really cool.
Did you reach the near stuff? Or
no, not yet.
Okay.
No, I haven't had a chance yet. I'm looking to. Ahead of Endwalker, I want to get through all that stuff.
I was
Which,
like,
by
I
the
want to
way,
play that. Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say I don't think we have it in our news because I don't think it mattered enough. But the writer for Shadowbringers, the lead writer, and Shadowbringers is very beloved, is also coming back for Endwalker. So
Very cool.
the story's probably going to be dark as shit.
I'm gonna try that PS5 update of that game when it comes out. It's like beta in April for it or something, I think.
Yeah, open beta. All right then.
Calling an open beta for an update seems like,
I mean, you can expect like, oh, maybe there'll be some weirdness.
yeah, because I mean, typically what that means is test realm, like we're literally testing content. It's a separate instance. I would assume this open beta means you can install it and play it on your PS5 as a native PS5 app instead of an upscaled or whatever, not even upscaled, instead of a PS4 app. But also there might be some bugs, so don't get mad.
Yeah. All right. Well, Hanyu Brennan Fraser, good luck.
She's back, baby.
Don't dox him. Now everybody in the Final Fantasy world is going to be filling Hanyu Brendan Fraser's inbox
With cookies.
with
questions for
I was going to go a
Gaming
darker
Fyx.
route.
But don't send those questions to Hanyu Brendan Fraser in Final Fantasy XIV. Send them to gaming@fyx.space.
I was going to say, write them on a postcard and mail them to my address, which is
Get a PO box. All right. Well, speaking of Pat, what do you got? if someone wanted your address, they might need to be like some sort of cartographer to like identify it on a map and like get there. Right.
no, you can use Google Maps. You don't have to have any cartography skills for the just need the numbers, the house number.
What if you did?
Counterpoint, isn't everyone a cartographer now?
No.
Like everyone's a photographer now because of Instagram. Everyone's a cartographer thanks to Google Maps.
Nope. Cartographers create maps. They don't just follow them. Cartographers write maps. Nobody. In fact, there are no more cartographers because all the cartographers are Google things, satellites and trucks.
Hey, we're all a cartographer. We've all got GPS in our pockets, making a map
That's not what
where
that
we
word
go
means.
every single day. Personal cartography.
So I did play a couple video games this week, but they're the ones I've been playing. Dark Souls 3 fucking rips. Everybody should play Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
All my homies love Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
But no, for the cast this week, I did play a couple of new board games. Not new as in their new releases, but new to me. And these two share a theme in some way, in a specific way that relates back to a beloved video game, which is Tetris. I don't think that they're necessarily inspired by Tetris, but the first one is a small what's called a roll and write. Have any of you ever played a roll and write?
I think so.
Is that like a speak and spell?
Sort of, but a tabletop game. This one is very loosely using the term roll and write because you don't actually roll any dice, but the general.
Couldn't you technically call Yahtzee a roll and write?
Yeah, I don't.
Technically.
I mean, you could call like Risk a civilization game at that point, but it's not really. It's not really what it is.
Yeah.
Roll and writes, you typically will have like a pad of paper in front of you. And you're like rolling dice and trying to use them in different combinations to get certain things. So yes, Yahtzee technically fits the bill, but I would say that's probably the like most basic and bad roll and write that that exists. And they're popular because they're usually pretty quick and they're pretty simple to understand, so you can get them on the table and get moving with them. The thing I don't like about roll and writes is when there's like one called Fleet that my friends and I have been playing. I hate it because it's like you roll the dice and you can just get totally screwed by RNG, and it feels like it doesn't matter if you have a strategy because you can just get like your strategy can just get messed up and you won't score enough points. But there are a few of them that I really like where everyone's kind of working with shared like shared stuff, and one of them that I played this week is called Cartographers, and it's a role player game, which role player spelled ROLL player It's cheeky. It's a studio called Thunderworks Games makes these games. The original Role Player as a game is kind of fun because it's not a roll and write. It's actually it's like a $90 board game. It's a pretty thick box with lots of stuff in it. But the idea is you're rolling dice and then using the results in different slots to equip RPG character. So it's all about the getting the skills and the equipment for your RPG character. It basically gamifies making a character, and then instead of playing a game with it, you just score points at the end based on how good your character is.
So it's basically the character creation phase of a D&D campaign, but
sort of,
turned
but
into
more
a game.
gamified. Yeah, it's very cool. I actually haven't played it, but I want to at some point. So anyway, they made this smaller, kind of more bite-sized experience. That game is actually kind of long. It takes like an hour or two to play, at least. They made a more bite-sized experience called Cartographers, which I don't even know why they associate them, because it doesn't really have anything to do with Role Player. They just like having a unified aesthetic, I guess. But in this game, part of the reason I brought it up is because I think Tents and Trees fans here might also find something to enjoy with it, because while it is not the same kind of rule set, essentially what you're doing is you're drawing cards off of a deck, and you have a sheet of paper in front of you that's like a little map that's almost entirely empty. And when the card is drawn, it's shared between all the players, and you get to make a choice on the card of what type of terrain you're putting down. And then it gives you a shape, which is roughly like a tetramino. And then you fill in on your sheet that shape with that terrain type. And then there's going to be 4 scoring cards called edicts that at the end of different rounds, you're going to score points based on how you've laid out your map. And so it'll be things like, oh, you get a victory point for every forest that's around the edges of the map, or you get a victory point. You get 2 victory points for every water space that's around a mountain, and 1 victory point for every plain space that's around a mountain.
Do the victory conditions change per round? Like, is it randomized?
Yes.
or is it okay? So it's not something you can just
everyone
memorize.
Shares them. No, everyone shares them, and everyone has to work from the same information, the same set of stuff. Mm-hmm. But it is randomized the ways that they come out, and it changes every round. You basically go through 4 seasons, and so like the first season you score off of cards A and B. The second season you score off of cards B and C, and then C and D, and then D and A.
Sorry, anytime you say 4 seasons, I just laugh a little bit.
And then there's also some cards that are like, if you get an ambush card, it's interesting because you actually pass your sheet to the player to the left of you, and then the player to the right of you passes you their sheet, and you get to place monster squares on their sheet to try to fuck them up. And then you pass the sheets back. So it's a pretty fun, kind of light game. There's a few other little wrinkles to the rules, and I really like it because I like these games when you have to at the end, what you end up getting is everybody has totally different mats, even though maps, even though everyone's been working with the same stuff the whole game. You don't ever have a card that's just for you. You're all making choices off of the same cards. So it doesn't feel like you get burned by RNG either, because there is randomness to the game, but everyone has to account for the same randomness, not everyone getting their own individual, random stuff happening. So it's very cool.
Interesting.
It's not a super expensive game either. I think it's like $30, maybe 30 or 40, which is pretty affordable for a board game. And there is a mobile version as well on Google Play and the iOS App Store. I haven't bought it. It's like $4. I haven't bought it because the reviews on it are a little shaky, so I want to look at it a little more before I think I would pick it up. But it's a cool game. I think anybody who likes puzzle games would really like it, because it has a lot of that aspect of trying to fit things together. Because at first you have this big wide open board and you're like, oh, I could put this shape anywhere. But very quickly it becomes like, oh, actually I need a piece that's too long, a 2x1 block, and that never happens. So it gets tough pretty quick. But larger game that has a shared concept with that game that I played is a game called Tapestry, which is a civilization game, as it says on the box, but that is an arguable and dubious claim from some people would say. And this is like an epic civilization building game that is by Jamie Stegmaier of Stonemaier Games. Stonemaier Games publishes games like Scythe is their big, that's the one
sure.
that, and Stegmaier designed Scythe, which is why I was interested in playing Tapestry. Scythe is, good. I think, one of the best board games of all time, probably.
Yeah, it's really good.
Which, if you're not familiar, Scythe is the 1920 plus or whatever is the name of the universe. It's the artist, Morten Monrad Peterson. Oh, no. That was one of the designers. Sorry. Is that who? No. Jacob Brzezowski. That's the name of the artist. That's the name of the artist. Jacob Brzezowski.
Yeah, it's cool with like the alternate history 1920.
Yes, and it's like big mechs, and people have animal familiars and stuff. It's very cool. It's a really Scythe is a phenomenal game, even if you don't care about the theme at all. Yeah. So Tapestry shares some DNA with Scythe for sure, same designer, and some similar concepts of like a hexagonal based map that you're trying to kind of get to the middle of and compete over. But the big difference is this is a game that looks more at the idea of like human history. It doesn't have any tie to real life at all. You do play as a civilization, but there are things like the Chosen and the Mystics and the Alchemists. And it's not really like mystical. It's fairly grounded, but it's not, again, it doesn't have any like link to the real world or real history. And it's very interesting.
You wouldn't say it has a link to the past?
No, that's correct. Well, it kind of has a link to the past because, but there's no master swords. Okay. But what I like about it, what's so wild about it is when you look at this game on a table, and I won't go through like all of the rules or anything, but when you look at this game on a table, it looks wild. I'm trying to find like a good image of it that I should have done beforehand. There's one with cats. Yeah, I mean, I guess this has a cat in it, and it looks like it. When you look at an image of it, you go, oh my gosh, that looks like a lot of stuff that's happening to manage. Never mind, the image file's too large, so forget it. But you have like a world map, and then you have all these tracks around the outside. Then you have a victory point track. Then everybody has a civilization sheet in front of them that gives them an ability. Jeez. And then you have an income sheet in front of you where you're like placing cards down and watching your resources go up and down. And then you have what's called a capital city sheet, which is again like a map sheet where you're putting things on it to score points. And when you first look at it, it looks like there's so much going on and it's so complicated. And you add to that there's a bunch of these little plastic, like beautiful painted building miniatures that come in the box. And
like Monopoly.
I mean, better than Monopoly, but sure. I'm gonna this image should.
I'm mostly joking. Yeah,
I know. But anyway, like you look at this board and it looks really complicated, and you look at it and go like, oh my god, this would take like hours to play. Which for a group of people who aren't really paying attention and who don't know how to play, as I witnessed my friend in last night, it can take hours to play. But when we played it, just the two of us, it actually took under an hour. And it's an interesting game because it's not a typical civilization game like Risk or Scythe, where you're really focusing on placing units on a map and moving them around. There is a small component of that, but more what it is each round you have you start off with an income turn where you look at your sheet real quick. It takes like 5 minutes maybe, and you figure out what your resource gain and point gain is going to be based on where you're at. And then when it's time for your turn after that, you pick one thing to do. And it might be, okay, my one thing is I'm going to place a map tile down, which is like an explore action. So I pay a resource to move on this track. I put a tile down, done. That's my turn. And it takes like a minute maybe, including thinking about it. And so what it creates is this really fast, like everyone's going around the table, and you can actually finish the game at different times because the game ends after your 5th income turn. And so like last night in the game I played with my friend, I actually finished. I was basically like a full round ahead of him. So I finished and he had like a whole set of advancement turns to play before he did his final income turn. And it makes for an interesting kind of like trying to pay attention to what everybody else is doing, but you're also kind of playing your own game. It's not like there's no interactivity, but it's very much a game of like challenging yourself with your strategy. And there's so many little like wrinkles in it that can change sort of like Scythe from game to game, because your civilization changes every game, and then your city tile map changes every game, which is like has different terrain on it that affects how you are going to place buildings down to score. And then it just has this fun tactile element of placing these like landmark wonder miniatures on your city tile board, which just serve as basically like the Tetris pieces that fill in parts of the board to help you score points. And it's a really cool twist on the civilization game concept, which is so mired in like there's a problem with board games that's true of video games too, but board games are more expensive and take up more space, where there's like 40 different tile-based dungeon explorers, and yes, they're different, but they all give you kind of the same feeling. And so it can be frustrating as a board game player to be like, well, this game looks really interesting, but I already have 3 of these. Do I really need another one? Which one am I going to get rid of to make room for it? And will that be a mistake because I don't like this new game as much, kind of thing? And Tapestry is cool because it is a civilization game in the sense that like the Civilization board game is, or Scythe is, or but it also has elements of like the sort of engine building that you get from a game like Seven Wonders, which is, you know, another one of the best board games ever made, or card games, I guess. So I don't know. I like it. I think it's an interesting game to try. They have a table. We played on a digital, we used a digital solution to play both of these games because I'm not meeting people in person for board games yet. And this person I played with lives across the country. I think Tapestry is available on Tabletopia if you ever want to try it. Although Tabletopia is a platform that does require you to read the rules and learn to play yourself. It doesn't automate everything. But I highly recommend them if you're recommend it. I will say definitely Tapestry is like, I think anyone could enjoy it, but it will take more time depending on what kind of experience you have with board games, because it does look very overwhelming and seems very complex. It's not so bad if you have played games and you kind of sit down and go read the rules and go, like the rule book is 4 pages for this game. It's not long, but in practice, because there's so much information on the board, it can look very intimidating. So, just don't let that scare you away, but also understand it might take you a little bit to understand it. But it's cool. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it seems really inspired by like Civ 6 specifically in some ways, which is really cool. Just kind of looking at the board layout and just some of the activities that you're doing and things of that nature. Yeah,
the combat in this game is interesting because there is very little of it. And when it does happen, it is... I put you there. You have a piece on this hex. I put down my piece on the hex and knock your piece over. Done. There is no like. No. It's just whoever got there first. The second person can take you out, and then there are mechanics to get you to like fight back or whatever. But it makes for like interesting strategic choices with how you place your military stuff. And it means that if you want to play the game where you don't engage, like I didn't engage with the military stuff at all last night. I didn't win, but my friend has played the game several times and I haven't, so I didn't expect to win. But you definitely don't feel like you have to engage with any specific aspect of it if you want to push on other pieces of the puzzle. And it feels like one of those games that's very much it's less about beating the people you're playing with and more about understanding the game and like the whole puzzle more to try to get a better score. which is fun to me. I think that's more fun than like games like this where you're like, no, fuck you, and then you ruin someone's whole turn and then they're kind of upset, and then if you're like a person with the heart, it's not as fun because you feel kind of bad that you ruined their turn.
Sure.
I like that in this game. It's much more like, oh, you took out my thing, I guess that means I get one less point at the end, and I should focus on this instead. It's kind of cool.
Nice. I wish I could play more board games. I say this every time. And it's time and English board games in Japan and people.
Yeah,
and
I think
get into Tabletop Simulator. It's so
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Then it's just a time factor of like, you know,
time zone factor.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I would say, you know, like my group, it really is the time spent on learning how to play is much more like you can kind of squeeze that in whenever because it's just reading the rules and comprehending them. This game in particular, like I said, our game, 2-player game, took an hour. It was pretty good. Like it moved real fast.
On that note, Pat, if someone doesn't want to read rules, are there any like YouTubers you would recommend for like people who teach game rules in like in a concise video? Because I think that can also be really helpful.
It's definitely, what's the name of the guy? I don't personally, nothing against.
Yeah, no, sorry to put you on the spot.
No, it's fine. There's a guy who does, he actually is like contracted by most, I would say, game developers now to do rules videos.
Cool.
And they usually put them in the rule book. But I personally don't particularly like his style. But it's nothing against him. I can't find him now. The thing that it's hard for me to relate to that question. Oh wait, I found it. It's Watch It Played is the YouTube channel. So if you go to Watch It Played, he does tons of rules explanations. I have a really hard time having games explained to me by someone. I have to read the rules, but that's a me thing. It's a problem when I play with this group because my friend will pull out a new game from nowhere on Tabletop Simulator, and he'll be like, okay, it's a 5-minute teach. And I'm just like, dude, I can't listen to you talk for 5 minutes and comprehend how to play the game. I have to sit and read the rules, which maybe I'll be able to do in 5 minutes, but
and play around, frankly. Like for me, like I can read the rules, but until I physically do the action, I don't actually comprehend it.
So
yeah.
It depends on the game for me. Like Cartographers, you explain it, or like I read the rules and it's like, okay, I have a full picture of what this game is. Tapestry though is absolutely that, and I think that's the hump for a game like this is you read the rules and go, okay, I read the rules and I understood them, but now what exactly do I do? But as long as you engage with it and like actually like go through the motions of doing the turn, the thing you find is that the reason the rule book is 4 pages is because most of what actually happens is laid out on the board with a lot of different symbols, and you just kind of have to learn the language of the board to understand it. But it can be tough. I think definitely like finding a groove though is tough with Tabletop Simulator and Tabletopia. You kind of have to find people that are going to be available at a consistent time. And I know we run into it sometimes because like we have a time zone difference. It's about 3 hours between my group and I, and it's mainly one friend who brings people to it sometimes. And sometimes he'll be at like I don't know, noon my time. He'll be like, do you want to play board games tonight? And I'm like, I have already got stuff I plan to do, and it just doesn't work. But when we can set up time, like this for last night's game, we made plans the day before to play board games at a certain time, and it's good. And I would say if this is sort of a specific thing for you, Andre, but like we're always looking for more people. So even if you have a weird time zone constraint and think like, hey, I don't know, 4 p.m. our time on a Thursday or my time, just let me know. We could maybe be able to make it happen.
Maybe. I've got 2.5 weeks before I'm on spring break for a month.
Spirit Island is the consistent one. We still play Spirit Island at least.
Good game.
At least every other week, if not multiple times a week. So have to play that sometime. But that's board games. I didn't cancel my pledge, my stupid video game console price pledge for the fucking Monster Hunter inspired board game.
Oh, right.
So I can tell everyone about that in, I don't know, 2 years or whenever that thing ships.
Well, I look forward to that. Maybe that'll be a game I'll be able to play someday. I don't know. That sounds fun, and I'd like to move back to the States someday. Maybe
that's a game that is designed to be played in like a campaign over 14 sessions, and each session is like 2 hours long.
I'd love to be able to like play games like that. Like I started a Pandemic Legacy game, but then we didn't finish before I moved here. Like it fell apart.
Well, one thing. And then we can move on because I haven't played it yet, but keep an eye out, see if you can get a copy of Under Falling Skies. That game sold out immediately, but it's like a Space Invaders kind of XCOM thing where you're like defending a city against an alien attack. But it's a solo game, and it has a legacy style campaign. And it's but as like a solitaire game, which is it looks very cool. I was gonna get a copy, but it sold out immediately because it's based on a print and play game, and then the full game came out, and Shut Up and Sit Down, which is a phenomenal board game YouTube, did a really glowing review of it, and then it blew it up in the way that like everybody wanted it after they reviewed it, and so they sold out immediately. But there's a reprint that should be hitting this month. So
let's see all buying options. I could get it for like $90.
Nope, don't do that. Wait until the reprint is in the wild, and it will be the regular price, which is like $30.
Well, it might be because it's an import, or I don't know.
I don't know.
It's Czech
Goods
Games
edition
Japan.
game, so I don't know.
Czech Goods Japan on Amazon. It's $90, and it would not get here till March. So
I would wait.
That is the cheap version. The next cheapest is 180, 185. So
don't worry. No. That game will be more readily available, and I bet you it'll be, even with import costs, you won't pay quite that much. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, speaking of paying a lot for a game, the PS5 games. $70.
Okay.
Yeah.
See where you're going with this. Hey, welcome to Canada. Our games have been $70 for like 5 years.
Aren't they like 80 now or something?
They're 80 now.
Yeah, but Canadian dollars are like
Monopoly money.
I didn't want to be rude, but Allison said it.
I mean,
you didn't want to be rude, so Allison will do it for you.
they're literally called loonies and toonies. Like,
like
that's fake money. Like, come on. Yeah, Bugs Bunny on there. Carrot.
Quick hard truth moment. All money is fake.
Yeah.
We live in a society.
Invest in Dogecoin.
But all money being fake is not as cringe as that's not a Joker-fied thing. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
Like I told in the chat, like there was a joke on Twitter that was like crazy straws, or to me just straws, and I was like,
oh my god, yes.
I'm like, okay,
I love that.
I'm like 99.9% sure this is not in the real trailer. However, I have to watch the trailer just to be sure, because I don't even know anymore. But it was just using the screen caps from when he says we live in a society.
The Snyder Cut seems like a joke.
The whole thing is hilarious. Like, god, it's hilarious if it's not like terrifying for setting precedents of whining and getting stuff made. But
Warner Brothers does not know what they have done.
Apparently, the ad for it on HBO Max says, "You asked, he delivered," which is just like way to empower toxic fandom.
Yeah,
good marketing. The next time anyone wants something, just send death threats and be horrible.
They have no idea what they've done.
Yeah, like this.
Well, the person who wrote that copy doesn't have any clue what the actual like. They were told like, oh yeah, the Snyder Cut, it's happening because some fans wanted it. They don't actually know anything about thing. Although,
but it's like I don't know.
When the director you're going after is Joss Whedon, like,
well, see, that's
I'm not saying anyone deserves death threats or should get like harassed on the internet, but whatever.
Like, I don't like the precedent, but like also like as somebody that has been in the past a huge Joss Whedon fan.
Yeah.
Fuck Joss Whedon.
Yeah, exactly. Like whatever.
I'm just like,
open the gate and let the dogs go and kind of for whatever happens. I hope you're good at dealing with dogs.
Yeah, it's like on the one hand,
Certainly
like,
seem to be one.
We shouldn't set this precedent, but it's like being mean to Joss Whedon's kind of good for me right now.
The sweating button guy meme.
You know who else is good at dealing with dogs? Me.
You.
In
Please give me your
Demon
tips.
Souls.
Because the dogs fucked me up.
PlayStation 5.
I saw another tweet that was about the Cruella trailer, and I was like,
God
so
damn
sad. I'm so fucking sad though, because that they said that they're like, if the trailer does not have a slowed down version of a children's choir singing "Who Let the Dogs Out," then there's no point. And I'm like, yes, the fact that doesn't exist makes me so mad. Okay,
Just wait for the Snyder cut of the Cruella movie.
Does
I've lost
that
control of my life.
does the choir singing "Who Let the Dogs Out" in like a chaotic church version, does that exist in Demon Souls for the PlayStation 5? Does anybody know? Has anyone been playing that?
Okay, do I need to buy this game?
Yes, but that's besides the point. I want to know. I want to get back to your original segue, Andre, because Dark Souls 3 has Bloodborne dogs in it, and they're fucking horrible to deal with because they're so fast.
The problem is you're using like a two-handed or like a large sword. Oh, you're not.
Well, I'm using two different swords.
Okay.
I'm using the the Itharian or whatever straight sword, which is like a frost sword, but it's a one-hander and it's little and it's not as big. And that's what I use to deal with the fast enemies, and they still just fuck me up. So I haven't played enough Demon Souls to remember, recently, to remember if the dogs are as infuriating in that game.
I mean, you just got to get good, but they're
okay. Let's back up. I don't ever have to endure that kind of ridicule again, because I one-shotted Black Dragon Calamine in Dark Souls 1, so I'm good. We know this. There's no doubt.
Hey, the dogs say otherwise, I guess. I don't know.
It's not that they can't deal with them, they're just irritating.
You think the player doth protest too much?
I'm not dignifying that with a response.
Demon Souls so Pat playing Dark Souls, also like Dark Souls 3, reminded me how much I love Dark Souls 3 and how good that fucking game is. And so I also installed that, and like playing these two games is very weird because like on many levels, Demon Souls, it's hard to tell what was like from, like if this was exactly how it was in the original, because it's very faithful, but there are like little minor tweaks where I'm like, oh wow, this is very helpful and nice to have, which that aren't present in Dark Souls 3. Like this is like getting really into like specific technical things where I'm like, oh, I love this here, instead of actually talking about the game. But like it'll accept like basically, I guess, buffering like inputs on certain things, like on changing my weapons, because if you can't, like in Dark Souls 3, right, if you can't do the action, it just won't let you do it until you can actually do the action. Whereas in Demon Souls, I can, like, if I'm drinking or eating my crescent moon grass or whatever, I can also hit like right on the D-pad and change my weapon, which I can't do in Dark Souls 3. So like there's a lot of stuff like that, which is very nice to have. Which makes the game feel a little bit more modern. Which is definitely appreciated, because there are a lot of things that are missing, like the dropping strike is not there, and there are a lot of times where I'm like, I just want to drop on this guy and hit him with my sword, but they won't let me.
This is in response to what you're saying, but I'm asking it to Pat because I think you have the context for it. Does that seem kind of similar to like shift queuing in Dota?
Yeah, I don't know that it has the same, like, I'm not arguing that it's not a quality of life thing that like maybe feels good. I don't know how if it's that like impactful to being able to like do stuff, I guess.
Right.
It's just
Immediate
nice to have.
execution.
It's
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because shift queuing can change. Like being able to master that can make you 10 times
a better
at the
player,
game.
right? Yeah. Whereas this is sort of a helpful thing where, you know, if you plan the Souls games are all about like, in a way, they're like they're almost like a chess match with the thing that's in front of you, because you have to plan like, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do this and this. And if you're on it with your input timing, you could definitely switch weapons as soon as the Estus flask animation is done and effectively have the same kind of thing. But I mean, you being able to kind of cue those inputs in Demon Souls makes it a little more like a little, I guess, less consuming in its like demand for your focus and precision, which you know, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. And also it's such a, like you were saying, Andre, it's such a specific detail that it's like hard to drill into. Like I had one with Dark Souls where in Dark Souls 1 and 2, when you take a sip of the Estus flask, which heals you, you're locked. You can't move at all. And in Dark Souls 2, if you use the non-recoverable, like the consumable healing stuff that isn't the Estus flask, you can move a little like slowly while you're using it. And so you can kind of like hit the square button and it sort of softly slows you down. So you can be running away from something, hit square, and then continue to sort of sidestep a bit. And in Dark Souls 3, that's how the Estus flask works. When you sip the Estus flask, you can still kind of move a little bit as you do it. So
Bloodborne's the same way.
We're talking about such hyper specific things, but it actually, when you've been playing these games, like I played 80 hours of Dark Souls before I started Dark Souls 3, where you could not move when you use the Estus flask. So when I hit the square button and I could still move a little bit, I was like, oh, that's great. But it's also interesting. And then we can go back to this, and this ties back around to the Demon Souls thing. I don't think that because you can use the Estus flask and move a little bit in Dark Souls 3, that makes the Estus flask mechanic in Dark Souls 3 better than in Dark Souls 1, because to me, all of this stuff feels pretty deliberate. And the games are so tuned that it's like, even without realizing it, there are those subtle differences are accounted for in balance and in the way that enemies work and stuff. So it's just differences from game to game, which I think is the strength of what From Software does. Is none of their games, you wouldn't, like, I would never say to someone like, don't play Dark Souls 1 and 2, just play 3 because it's the best one. It may end up being my favorite, but there's still so much value in seeing their whole catalog, which is why Demon Souls is worth remaking and playing still. You can definitely see, like, obviously, like going back to like Kingsfield and stuff, that the lineage has been there, but seeing so much of the influence, or like seeing where so much of Dark Souls came from, again, because I beat Demon Souls on the PS3, but I'm having a hell of a time right now with the final boss, or it's like the second to last boss, but it's basically the final boss, and he's just kicking my fucking ass. And I'm reminded of how many bizarre and like really unfriendly design choices they made. Because the Souls games are fair. They're hard, they're challenging, but they're fair, and they don't really lock you out of too much, unless you like maybe you kill something, or like if you make like a certain choice, you'll get locked out of something. You kill a vendor. But you know, what you can do.
Yes, you can, and like, you know, good for them for letting that happen. But for Demon Souls, you can. Basically, they punish you for being in like your resurrected human form, because one of the main mechanics of Demon Souls and the other Dark Souls games is like holification, basically. They call it different things, but in Demon Souls, that manifests as you having half health. You can get a ring that lets you boost that up to like 75%, but if you want full health, you have to become human. That opens you up to things like being invaded. but you have your full health, and so there's a trade-off there. You can summon people if you're human, but there's this mechanic called world tendency in Demon Souls, and world tendency impacts things like strength of enemies, how many enemies, how much damage you do, how much damage you take. If like certain events, if you get your world tendency high enough, certain events will happen, or certain pathways will open to like different areas. And this is all impacted by dying in human form, killing bosses, or killing like phantoms that invade, which can be players or NPC phantoms. And so they disincentivize you from being human, which is the thing that gives you health, and the thing that like allows you to summon people into your world. So no one wants to like do the multiplayer really in Demon Souls because it's a bad scene, and like if you die, then it like can fuck up your world, and then you're like, oh, I can't get this really good item because my world tendency is dropped and I have limited opportunities to raise it until like New Game Plus, which is a bummer. So what it drives people to do is they kill a boss, and that makes you human. Everyone just goes back to the Nexus and then kills themselves, recovers their souls, so that way they don't have to deal with like decreasing their world tendency if they die. Which is just a really strange thing that I was reminded of playing this.
I think it is weird in that game, and maybe like not the cleanest implementation of those ideas. But I think that part of this is, having played a lot of Dark Souls, and I'm not speaking to accessibility. I'm not going to pretend like I'm qualified to talk about the accessibility of those games, but purely from a difficulty perspective, there's this kind of the problem with Souls games and FromSoft's catalog is that the community sucks. The community is like ultra toxic.
Oh, the get good.
Yes, and I shouldn't say the community at large. There's also a huge community of people who care deeply about like sharing the experience and who are wonderful. So
there's you didn't only cheat the game, you cheated yourself. You didn't learn.
That slice, the vocal part of the community.
Right. It might be a minority, but it's very, 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 very vocal.
Yeah. And the problem is it's led to this interpretation of Souls games as like, oh, they're the most brutal games ever made. They're so hard and they hate you and stuff. Mm-hmm. And when you actually play them,
Prepare to Die edition.
Yeah, and the marketing doesn't help with stuff like that, right? But the thing is, when you actually play them, there are so many difficulty sliders in these games. They just don't put them in the settings menu. It's things like your choice of weapon and build and stuff directly impacts the difficulty of the game. And so in a game like Demon Souls, sort of what you're saying, if you want a like more brutal experience, you could focus on trying to stay in human form and actually like using, I can't remember if you use embers in that game to get
it's the stone of ephemeral eyes.
Yeah, right. So you could be trying to keep yourself in human form, or you could put that ring on and like not worry about it. And
and there's a limited number of those items. Like you can't farm them; they're just like scattered around the world. So.
Is that conveyed in any way within the game's information, or would you have to look to external resources to know that?
Like know what?
Like to know that the advantages they would grant you that would be like make the game.
Oh no! People had to find that out.
Okay, but you find out through experimentation.
But it was like, I mean, there is like a menu in the game that says like world tendency, and it shows like it has like a thing that changes over time, and you can like really tell when it's pure white or pure black. And then like if you notice something in the world changes, and people in the Souls games, you can leave messages on the ground, and there are messages about white soul tendency or black soul tendency, and sometimes they lie, and like so you're like, oh well, I'm gonna get black soul tendency, and nothing happened. God damn it! But you can also look that stuff up online now. So
Sure.
One of the funniest things in a Souls game is to see where you walk up to a message that says liar ahead, and then you go forward another 10 steps and it's like the edge of a cliff and it's someone saying like ring here and implying you need to jump off to get something. Yeah. So I guess my point that I'm trying to make is certainly from an accessibility perspective, I can't say that like, I don't think that they're necessarily games that anyone can play. Unfortunately, the number of games that are like that are so like such a small handful, and it sucks.
Right.
But I would say if you've been turned off by like the negative nature of the community, but you have an interest in this series, give it a try anyway. Something I kept that I kept going back to when I've been playing through these games is there were a couple of boss fights in Kingdom Hearts 2 that I found harder than anything I've done in Dark Souls so far. And so like really but if I were playing a different kind of character, like if I were playing a dex-based character that can't block, then it would probably make it a lot harder for a first run through those games. If you have an interest, check out a guide, try playing a character that's easy to play, and give it a shot, because I think they're worth your time. And if you like action RPGs, I don't know that I think there are any that are better.
Are you playing on PC? And if so, are you using like the DS Fyx stuff?
I'm playing it on PS5. I have the Dark Souls remastered collection they did for PS4, which those games, I think all of them run at 60 frames a second on PS5.
They do on PS5,
which means
not all of them run at 60 on
PS4,
Xbox. On Xbox, PS4, but on the Xbox Series. But they did do that FPS boost, so maybe that
I don't know.
Fix that.
I know that on PS5 they run, and the DualSense is a phenomenal controller to play those games with. So yeah, I can't imagine playing them anywhere else at this point, but
I feel like I keep trying to want to like Dark Souls, but I haven't really I've tried playing a bunch of them, but never really stuck with it. But maybe I'm like I still want to get Demon Souls, because every single time I see one, I'm like, maybe this is the one. So
yeah, I think I would
say go with like a Dark Souls, because like I was saying, they're while there are quality of life improvements, it feels like that were added to Demon Souls. I think overall it is a harder experience because it's got some really weird choices that I think they shied away from in later games because they were a little too punishing and anti-fun. The punishing you for wanting to engage with the multiplayer, making it so opening yourself up to danger through invasion is something that they kept, which I think that makes sense. But saying, oh, if you die, then that's extra bad, so then you don't want to, you're taking extra risk, and so because you don't want to do that, it just becomes
I don't know. I agree with you, but great. I also think PvP is a thing in those games you either engage with or you don't.
But I'm not talking that's fine. I'm saying the PvP stuff, that's fine. It's the world tendency stuff and
I know,
being punished for dying, whether that's through being killed by a boss or falling off a cliff or just get you mess up and get mobbed by four dudes.
What I would recommend, and I know you had a question, there's the thought too, Alex, but what I would recommend to anybody who has a PS5, I assume you have PS Plus, but try Bloodborne. It's in that PS5 collection. Man. That's a lot of people say that's the best one. And if you like that game a lot,
the one I've played the most of. But I feel like I need to just kind of power through it.
Yeah, I think if you come away from 10 hours of that game and go, well, I fucking hate this, you're probably not gonna.
No, I liked it. It was just I feel like I just kind of fell off because of the difficulty. But it's and
if you feel like it's too hard, just use guide. Really, guides will help you. Guides will help you find the weapon that is always in those games. That's really good early on, and will help you understand the stat system better. So oh, if I build a lot of strength and vitality, the game becomes a lot less punishing.
Watch a speed run, etc. And then
because really I don't think you need lightning fast fighting game style input speed to be able to play these games. They're really I don't think that's true. I think it just takes patience and perseverance.
Also, the thing that's fucked up is, so I have Black World tendency now on the final boss, and they just get one shot by the enemies on the way to the final boss. So Yeah, it's great. Good stuff. And there's no way for me to like undo it. Well, there's one way, and it's a pain in the ass. So that'll be, yeah, we'll see.
That sounds lovely. But yeah, the one thing I was going to say is, like for you, Allison, I don't know if this would be true, and I don't know if it's general advice that anyone should take, but like maybe playing stuff, well, we're 10 plus years into the Souls series existing. There's lots of stuff that's inspired by Souls that could be a good entryway to kind of like finding your way to see if you like the feel and stuff without having to dedicate to a full Souls game. Like even God of War, you got like Fallen Order, to an extent Hollow Knight, like you could jump into any of those, and if there are things from those you like, maybe that can be a path into the Souls series too.
And it's like I do like Hollow Knight, even though I'm very bad at it, and yeah, so it's just something I need to. It's just one of those things where I'm like,
Yeah.
I definitely believe how good they are, but at the same time, I feel like I need to put the time into it.
That was absolutely how I was, like literally up until a month ago, when it was like, I'm going to do a podcast about Dark Souls lore and I want to see it myself before I get spoiled on stuff. So
Yeah.
I need to play them, and I need to play them now and get through them.
Yeah.
So
and
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's just one of those where I'm like, I appreciate a lot of the things that Dark Souls does, especially stuff like Bloodborne, like especially with the aesthetic of Bloodborne. And I appreciate a lot of the, I appreciate the difficulty, and I appreciate the focus on being careful and thoughtful, and also, the lore and everything. It's just, I just feel like I probably need to just sometime at some point sit down and be like, all right, I'm going to push through this, even if it's really hard.
Watch Hawkshaw's Dark Souls timeline. It's only an hour and a half long, like I did. And then you'll be prepared lore-wise to see what's happening in Dark Souls.
Cool.
That's baby shit compared to the Destiny 2 video I watched. That was 4 hours.
Oh, I watched that too.
I've watched multiple things about Kingdom Hearts lore that has not stuck with me at all.
I can tell. We can go on Kingdom Hearts.
The coda on the Souls chat is prepare thyselves. I think Kingdom Hearts has a lot in common with Dark Souls on multiple levels. There's some lore similarities. There are some aspects of the gameplay that have, like, Dark Souls is better than Kingdom Hearts. Let's just put those cards down. But
not Kingdom Hearts 2, but yeah, okay. The rest.
I don't know if I would say that Kingdom Hearts 2 is better than any of the Dark Souls games. But
Kingdom Hearts 2 and Dark Souls 3 are pretty good.
As someone who loves Kingdom Hearts and loves Dark Souls, I think that if you were to play Kingdom Hearts and thought, I really love the weird, obtuse ways in which these games tell their stories and how nothing really makes perfect sense, but there is an internal logic here that is in motion. Definitely, like, there's some.
I low-key like that sort of stuff.
I feel like you're giving Kingdom Hearts too much credit, and it's in the I'm not taking anything away from Kingdom Hearts' story. I think their storytelling is not so so I watched that lore video you were talking about, and the way everything is like constructed and like placed, or no, it wasn't that. It was another video that branched off from that video.
Yeah, I'm watching those too.
Like about Hovel and Ash Lake, and they just like, we found this ring.
Look,
near Ash
Souls
Lake.
is better than Kingdom Hearts. I don't think there's incomparable. Anyway, I just think if you play Kingdom Hearts as a kid and you love it, you're probably gonna really like Dark Souls when you grow up. For all the kids out there listening, play Kingdom Hearts because you're a kid, and then play Dark Souls when you turn 17, because it's a mature rated game and you're not allowed to play it before you're 17.
So this week,
anyways,
left me on red there. Damn.
Into news. It was so well said. I didn't want to ruin it. This week, into news, there's a lot. We went long on games and long on whatever it was we talked about at the beginning.
Bullshit.
What did we talk about at the beginning?
Star Wars.
Star Wars
special edition.
Yeah, LaserDiscs. That's what it was.
Sorry, I got us on the thing of LaserDiscs, and now I'm legitimately like, should I get a 4K TV because of it? So
and you get 4K TV and Lord of the Rings on 4K. Also, last thing about Demon Souls, I picked up a sound bar to go with my PS5, and like I was like, oh yeah, game music. Right.
Dark Souls 3's music.
Dark Souls, yeah.
Fucking incredible. Holy shit, it's good.
That was the thing.
My God.
Like, oh, right.
You boot Dark Souls, and you just want to start pounding your fist on the table and be like, I'm ready to fucking go just from the menu. Because the menu music just goes so hard.
Yep.
It's good.
Yep. Anyway, that's
no,
it for
it didn't
game.
go so hard, Pat.
You and I feel this way.
Okay.
I don't want this to be the pick on the thing Allison likes. Like 20-minute.
I mean, okay, I will say that there are very specific things that I connected with in we're talking about the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
And I understand that other people might not connect with it. Like on Twitter, I posted that my relationship with Nintendo is the gift from Parks and Rec, which is money, please, which like, honestly, like that's not necessarily a good thing. Like, I did not mean that as like a,
no,
like,
I got what you were saying.
Yeah. And so like, but it's just more of like, Nintendo, I'll always be giving you the money. It's fine. Like, you know, but I think that there was, I feel like Nintendo Directs are always really hard to like please everybody with, but I feel like, I don't know. I feel like there were some good stuff in there.
There was at least something I came away excited about. Let's put it that way.
There were multiple things I came away excited about, and so I think that it was
Ben Esposito's
solid.
Game.
Yeah,
I'm excited for Mario Golf.
I am the Skyward Sword defender here. And
I never played it, so
Ben
I will
Esposito's
probably
classic
buy it.
Skyward Sword.
But Ben Esposito, is the game that they're talking about is Neon White, which is like first person, and it's a card game. And it looks weird, but I didn't see that it was Ben Esposito, but I saw Annapurna was publishing it, and I was like, you know, I trust you, Annapurna. I'm at that point with Annapurna.
It on the PC.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exact same here.
You know, probably, or I don't know. Well, I'll see where I play.
Or the PS5. That's the one that those are the two places I play.
The other one that got announced.
I think it's only confirmed for PC and Switch right now.
To talk meta here, to talk about the Direct and why I felt pretty negative, I guess. I would say neutral leaning negative about it was, as someone who has something more than a Switch, most of those games that were shown are games I'm going to play somewhere else.
Yep.
That's fair.
But it's with the awareness that if someone only had a Switch and had no interest in PC or other consoles, then this thing is fucking awesome for them.
Well, and I definitely get that I am not the target audience for this. So it is certainly not me saying like, you should just like PC gaming and get off of your Switch. I mean, like that's a really not a good, that's a toxic mindset. So not a good way to think. And I know that's not what you're saying, Alex. I didn't mean to like apply that, but but I think the thing that I come away from these scratching my head, and this is why I pushed the long conversation we had about it, like whatever it was last night, I guess. But I look at this stuff and it feels like there's like a like kind of, and this you posting that meme, Allison, is a great example of like, your relationship with Nintendo to me seems very honest, but sometimes I see
some people are very much
there's just no criticality whatsoever.
I feel like it's similar to how people approach like Disney.
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely.
Like, where I feel like you
or Sony
right, but I feel like
Kingdom
with like
Hearts.
Nintendo and Disney, it's like very specifically like they buy into the brand identity of the brands, where it's like Nintendo and Disney have very specific identities that they want to sell to you, and they are very much like, hey, we are this family friendly fun company, when it's like, you know, I personally assume Nintendo is a more ethical company than Disney. I say as somebody that has put a lot of money into Disney.
Every time like office culture at Nintendo leaks out, it sounds bad. They're just very good at not letting that happen.
Yeah. And I mean, also, but it's like, But I mean, also it's like probably less toxic to the overall culture than Disney is. And again, I say as somebody that was watching WandaVision last night and going like, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I'm technically a huge Disney fan because I love Marvel and Star Wars.
Exactly. I'm like,
I might agree for the games they make, but not for the stuff that Nintendo does, such as shutting down Smash tournaments and like generally treating the communities like shit.
But I feel like on a macro
Disney
level,
does that same kind of shit.
Yeah.
is like feel like, especially with like copyright law, Disney is like fucking up the industry in a way that like
absolutely,
like on a like lasting super level. Like I feel like, you know, Smash tournaments can come back, certain things like that, but Disney is like, you know, you can't put the toothpaste back in the bottle of like what they're doing with copyright law.
And to your point, like Nintendo shutting down like emulation sites hurts video game preservation for Nintendo games. But like as much as they're influential and big in the industry, they don't really have like Sony also has a big say in the video game industry. And like there's a lot of different players there still, whereas Disney is quietly, not even really quietly, building a monopoly over the entertainment industry as it pertains to virtually every other form of entertainment.
Right. And I don't want to be like, which is the least bad, because it's like, you know, you should critique all the media companies, and like the concept of like standing a company is like wild to me, because you probably shouldn't. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I feel like coming out of these directs, I'm like, wow, there are a lot of cool games that I'm interested in playing.
And I think sometimes I feel like I interrogate you about it just because you're a friend of mine who I also know has at least some form of perspective on it. And I hate to like dampen people's positivity and things that they feel good about and like, but it's like sometimes when I see people, it's like Nintendo could probably say, we're going to come to your house and punch you in the face for $50. And they'd be like, oh my God, it was the best direct ever. And it's just like, come on.
Would they give me like a commemorative, like, you know, trophy or something, like a commemorative thing? Because I would probably sign up for it and be like,
but at least,
Nintendo.
At least you would be like, man, this sucks. I can't believe I'm doing this.
I can't believe I'm doing this, but like, do I get an extra Paper Mario game out of it? If so, then like, fuck, punch me in the face.
It's just like I don't it's such a wild thing.
And I think the reason that I kind of push back on it a little bit is because I feel like sometimes I get the vibe that people are more like fuck you Nintendo, and then like but still cool with like other industry things. Like same. Like I mean, I know that you aren't necessarily doing this, but like, you know, like, oh, there's another Splatoon, but then like, you know, every single year there's a new Call of Duty, and it's like, you know, there's definitely like layers to that, but at the same time, like there are times when I feel like people are like, oh, they're just iterating on the old game, or oh, they're doing this way, and I'm like, that's like industry practice though. Yeah,
it is. I think with Nintendo, the frustration for one, like what we were talking about before, is I would love it if they would stop putting out Call of Duties every year.
Right.
And not charge me $60 a year to engage with it.
Necessarily you, but I feel like just like overall people are like, oh, there's a new Splatoon. They're turning out money, where I'm like, dude, all the industry is like, turning out money.
Splatoon has been like, Splatoon 2 has been like not updated for like a few years. It's very popular, like incredibly popular, at least in Japan. I don't know what it's like in the States, but
pretty dang popular.
You get a game,
it's quite a bit. I've played a lot.
But
I mean, like overarching
art books and merchandise.
I don't see much of that, but I also like, interact with kids, so I don't like not that it's a game just for kids. It's a great game.
But it is very popular in my school.
2 years ago, I went to the Minnesota State Fair, and Nintendo had a giant thing there, and I played Splatoon with a bunch of children.
That's funny. That's good. So I think the thing like with Splatoon specifically, it's kind of like a microcosmic example of a larger issue, which is like it's certainly iteration. It happens all the time. I think like Splatoon 2 was very similar to Splatoon 1 in a lot of its content. And it's not that I don't think that Splatoon 3 could be awesome and a huge overhaul. It's just that I feel like the trailer they showed us didn't indicate that it was going to be anything like that.
It was mostly a release trailer though, of like, this is happening. Like I said, it like in our chat where it's like, it's an announcement. Well, not a release, but it's like, it's like, this is happening. And also we have footage. So this isn't Metro Prime 4,
which is cool.
That's the vibe I got from it, was like, this is definitely happening. We are definitely putting time into it, and it's like on the way.
That could have been Splatoon 2. You wouldn't know.
That's kind of what I'm getting at, I guess.
True.
And I don't want to like, again, I'm really not trying to just like be an argumentative asshole, but I saw some people, less you, actually Sam said this too, not to pick on him, but I saw some people that were like, it's so cool that they're, and Sam didn't say it this way with as much faith as this, but I saw some tweets that were like, it's so great that they're leaning into really creating a rich single player experience. And I was like, how the fuck do you know that? They didn't show anything in that trailer that suggested
like
they did a Spirited Away homage.
It hinted at the lore a bit, and that there is like a whole lore to Splatoon that has been covered a little bit in like what single player there is, and then also the Octo expansion.
Really, their lore, their like storytelling is on the level of Dark Souls, and
I don't want them to
environmental storytelling,
but it might be on the level of Kingdom Hearts.
But then also at the same time, like, so it's like I would really like that, but there really was not anything to indicate it there. Especially since I think that the Octo expansion like fucking owns. Like,
yeah, I actually should play that because I like Splatoon.
It's really fun, and I think it does some really interesting things too, especially since it is a single player campaign. But it's like you're still interacting with the different weapons, and it does some cool stuff. So it's like and since that took place on a train, I'm like, could this tie together and have its own like Octo expansion, but in the main game? But it's like we can't tell literally anything about it based off of that. It's just that Splatoon 3 is coming, and they're saying like, fuck you, gender, do whatever you want, which is great. Yeah. So I think I kind of ride the, like, I'm a horrible centrist where I'm like, on the one hand, I see the point of like, you know, I don't think you should stay in a company, and I think that you should be, you know, critical of the things that you like, but also at the same time, Mario Golf showed up and I was like, yes.
I mean, yes, that's the correct response to Mario Golf. That's always the correct response to Mario Golf.
Yeah, it looks
and
like
Splatoon showed up and I was like, we did it, man.
We did it. Listening to all of this, I think I've put my finger on the pulse of exactly what disappointed me about this Direct and why I've been feeling kind of down on Nintendo lately. Is because I think Nintendo is at their very best when they're making weird, wild shit that you don't see coming. And like Splatoon 3 is a sequel to Splatoon. Adding stuff to Smash is adding stuff to Smash.
Although
like,
that trailer was very good, and I bought it.
But
I was like, oh fuck, you did it.
But like,
you did it again.
Skyward Sword HD, who gives a fuck? Honestly,
like,
sure.
Some people give a fuck.
Skyward Sword Defender has logged on.
Yeah, but like,
I want to play that game again.
Sure, but like,
I've never played it.
The thing I like about
like
Zelda, I didn't like Breath of the Wild, but that's a me taste. I'm glad they went that direction. I really liked when they did Spirit Tracks. I really liked when they did like the weird stuff with Zelda. That's Skyward Sword HD is Skyward Sword again. Like Mario Golf is another Mario Golf. Miitopia already came out. Like Hades, that they spent a long time with, that came out. Ninja Gaiden, that came out. Age of Calamity DLC, sure, it's probably fine.
Monster
but
Hunter is another Monster Hunter, which is fine for Monster Hunter is good.
These Super Mario items.
I feel like that's necessarily like that's the case with a lot of different companies, and I think it's like maybe you hold Nintendo like this. They are at their best when they're being inventive, but at the same time, like.
Yeah, and
like all the things being the same, I'm like, yeah, you could say that about like, you know, the initial PlayStation 5 like thing where they're like, GTA 5 comes out.
You have people like shitting their pants in excitement over how amazing this Direct was, and I'm like, it's not. It was whatever. Like Outer Wilds, they spoiled.
Never been that weird.
They spoiled some stuff from Outer Wilds, so now that people go into that, they know like the book is coming and stuff. It's like, great, cool, thanks. Like, I don't know. There was just like Legend of Mana. I love that game. I've played it. Like, that's the thing is like 80 to 90% of this Direct was stuff that was like not surprising. And for me, that's why I found it so disappointing.
And for what it's worth, I thought that PS5 thing sucked too. So
yeah,
I mean,
I'm with you, Allison. I do think that there's some hypocrisy around that.
To a very different standard than like, you know, like a Sony event or like a Microsoft event. And like, I think that's fine because I do agree that like Nintendo is at its best when it does like, I don't fucking know, we're doing whatever we want. But I think also they've had, you know, other directs where they've like shown off the indie titles that are exclusive to Switch, or, you know, they've done other things. Like people held this up as like a really big thing. I mean, understandably, because it was the first proper direct in over a year, but at the same time, it's like they've done other stuff too. And I think that it's like pretty on par with a lot of the main industry.
I agree with you. I think it's just that I'm disappointed in the industry as a whole. And I think that,
and I think that's totally legitimate. But
I guess what I see, I think part of it is the circles that we follow too, because you're totally right that there's fanboyism with Microsoft and Sony as well. That sucks. But I guess in the kind of more, I don't know how to put it, like those circles feel like just like they've kind of been sort of, those fandoms have kind of been sort of like whatever. Like it doesn't feel like anybody listens to that really in like gaming press, for example. But Nintendo, on the other hand, is kind of like, you can kind of draw some ire quickly from people if you deride it. Whereas like with Nintendo, it's like, oh, if I kind of say like, I think this direct was disappointing, it's people that I like actually like might be like, well, that's not very fair. Whereas if I say this Sony thing was disappointing, it's like, Sephiroth 420 6969 XXX is the person who's saying whatever, Sony rocks, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck about like that, that opinion,
true.
You know.
All I can say is I am hyped for Famicom Detective Club the end.
Yeah, that stuff seems weird. That's the kind of weirdness you want.
See, that's the thing where I'm like, I saw that and I was like, Nintendo, do more stuff of this, even if it's just like old, like it's a remaster of an old like Famicom Disk System detective game, and I'm like, yes, give me this.
Hey, World's End Club, that also looks neat. But
did they put an end on it finally?
Maybe we'll fucking finally be able to play the whole game,
because they put it on Apple Arcade, but it was like
but it was like unfinished. Yeah, so I played like a couple hours of it, and then I saw that and I was like, well, fuck this, and then I stopped playing it. But
I just
also I don't
Nintendo...
think it's quite as good on phone as it would be on like Switch. But
yeah,
I wish Nintendo made games for me, like, or, you know, and they like occasionally they do, but especially recently they seemed so far and few between. Like, I'm still waiting on Bayonetta 3. I'd love a Metroid, like a 2D, a 3D. I just love like,
I mean,
something.
Frankly, I'd love something new.
Sure,
I would love for them to do a new thing.
I'd love for them to do a new thing that like gets me excited. But like, I
think like have there been any new IP on the Switch?
ARMS.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, honestly,
I forgot about ARMS.
Honestly,
holy shit,
I know
you're
there's
right.
some serious ARMS
didn't have
defenders.
legs.
ARMS is kind of good. Like, I haven't played it since it came. Like, I played it for a while after it came out, but it was like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, Ring
Fit counts.
Yeah, so I guess I would love to see new, and I think part of my issue is sort of what you're saying, Andre, which is that I think a lot of the stuff that Sony is doing, like, they're more for me. Like, I'll play the next Spider-Man, but also I'm not excited. And this is sort of the Splatoon 2 thing or Splatoon 3 thing too. I'm not excited for an announcement of the next Spider-Man unless the thing in the trailer is exciting, because I know they're making another Spider-Man and it'll probably come out in 2023 or whatever. And that's sort of the thing with, like, I was kind of like, well, they stopped working on Splatoon 2. Obviously they're going to make a Splatoon 3, and the trailer was just like, it's going to be more Splatoon. As a Splatoon 2 fan, I say this, not as someone looking to poke holes in anything. So I looked at it and I was like, well, yeah, of course, this was your big, like, one more thing. But, like, obviously you were making a Splatoon 3. It's disappointing because I wish it was out this holiday and not next year. And
you want to talk about disappointing? It was hilarious. Was their Zelda Skyward Sword?
Oh my god, that's
really
one we
funny.
can all rip on together.
That was hilarious.
No, I think it's brilliant. Like,
it was. No, I'm ripping on it in appreciation. I'm ripping on it because it's amazing shit posting.
It was kind of hilarious. Like, I was watching it, like watching it. I had work, so I wasn't watching it live, but I was watching the recording, and I hadn't gotten spoiled, and they're like, okay, we don't have any footage from Breath of the Wild 2 yet. We're still working on it, but it's not quite there. However, this might tide you over a little bit, and you see the sky and it looks kind of blue, and you think, is this Wind Waker?
Oh no, absolutely not.
That's what I said.
I thought that is Skyward Sword.
And then it took me I had a brief moment of like, Wind Waker, and then it like goes in your Skyward Sword, and it is like,
A good
the game
Zelda
has
game.
the game has
very
its
much.
okay, fuck off. But like the game has its defenders and people like Andre, but like the overarching narrative.
What is that supposed to mean?
It's defenders and then also degenerates like Andre.
But I mean, I feel like the game it's the overarching response to it is not positive. Like people generally.
You're talking about Nintendo fans here. There's no accounting for taste.
Isn't it Zelda's 35th anniversary this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as much as I think that the concept of
Skyward Sword will be off of sale on March 31st, 2022.
As much as I think that their whole Mario collection thing going off sale thing is fucking shitty, and I don't like supporting it, and that's part of why I didn't buy that collection as much as I'd like to play one of the games in that collection.
Yeah, I very specifically bought it, but I was like, that was another one where I was like, this is some bullshit.
If they were like
$60,
if they were like $100, you can get Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and Skyward Sword, I would totally do it.
Wait, what about Twilight Princess?
Twilight Princess?
Yeah, sure, Twilight Princess too. Which is
probably
that?
Like that was
good.
like
It's okay. It's good.
Including one of my top.
Twilight Princess slaps.
Not
okay,
here for this blasphemy.
It's not as good as Majora's Mask.
No Zelda game is as good as Majora's Mask.
Breath of the Wild, but sure.
No.
Apparently, there are rumors that Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are coming to Switch.
They should.
I hope so, because I was like, those games are both good. Both of them were very good
no
games.
Reason they shouldn't.
That's the thing. This is why I get frustrated at at any sort of hype for re-releases. Is your fucking Nintendo. The Switch can run any of the games. It's the most powerful console you've ever made, which is kind of funny, but also it's still true.
Yeah, no, it's like,
why can't you play every single Nintendo game on the Switch? It's absurd. And
it's so like stuff like and not everything has to be like what they're doing with Famicom Detective Club, where they're like full on vamping it.
No.
Like, just put if there's games that are already people like and are already really good, just put them on the fucking Switch.
Well, give them widescreen support, and that's it. That's all.
Yeah.
Maybe if you have a thing like with where the GameCube controller kind of fucks shit up, like you can figure out like ways around that with the Switch controller. Just
say, hey, this is kind of fucked up. It's kind of fucked up. Not gonna lie. Enjoy. I don't know.
I would buy it. Like that's the issue.
You work around it. You figure it out.
Hey, maybe give proper GameCube controller support to games.
Just make a fucking wireless GameCube controller that works with it.
Do not do that. Do not give in, Nintendo. I mean, I like the GameCube controller, but like, do not give in to the Smash perverts.
What's so frustrating about this?
I just want like fucking Beautiful Joe on Switch.
For what's so frustrating about this is if tomorrow Nintendo was like, sorry, I mean, I don't want this to happen, and it's not going to happen. But if tomorrow Nintendo was like, we're going out of business, we're everything about the Switch and all of our games is going to be open source, you know that within like 3 months. Fans would have ported every Nintendo game ever and all of their controllers to work on the Switch. So it's not like it's like some Herculean
task. People can port anything to anything now. It's like people will make it work.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gamers find a way. Oh, I hated that I said that. Never mind.
I want to play snipper clips on my fridge.
I mean,
if you want to, I'm not going to stop you.
I mean, Snipper Clips is a good game, but like.
1, 2, 3 Switch, the sequel
with a dual sense.
And also, I'm excited about Mario Golf.
Mario Golf.
That speed golf thing looks hilarious.
It'll be very fun to watch.
Online multiplayer.
Yeah,
I want to play speed golf with all of you.
Yeah, oh my
Speed
god!
golf
As soon as
looked
it comes
very
out,
dumb.
I am playing speed golf with like anybody who wants to play speed golf.
You gotta buy me
So
a copy
good.
if you want that.
No, I don't want your negativity. You're not invited to the speed.
Pat and I will be like hanging out
just
playing
gonna be
speed
Alex-
golf. It'll be great.
Alex, Allison, Sam, and I, and Erica, if she wants to join, and
Yeah.
I'll
you
just
can
be having a great time playing Skyward Sword.
Oh, speed golf
Getting through
is
the
a real
tutorial.
thing that happens.
spending 25 hours getting through the tutorial.
Yep.
That's why I want to play that game again. Is because I bought it when it was new with the Wii Motion Plus, and then I played like 10 hours of it, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I have better things to do with my time than have you tutorialize things 10 hours into this Zelda game.
It was that was up there with like Assassin's Creed 3 with this like all-time long.
Yeah, which is also bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, yeah. Just like Skyward Sword. Anyways, I had a question about one of the direct things
Yeah.
that I haven't seen people really talking about, and I was baffled by, and I want to know if anyone is excited for, and it was that
Yeah.
DC girls, superhero
Oh,
girls.
I don't know.
That's
Weird.
really popular with kids.
Children,
Like that is
yeah.
super popular.
Does it?
But it's
it already exists?
yeah. Oh, DC Superhero Girls is like a whole franchise.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's a weird throwback to like licensed games on the GBA kind of thing. That's what that reminded me of, is like a SpongeBob game for the Game Boy Advance.
Got like the
Yeah.
Totally Spies font.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Oh my god, that's like bringing me flashbacks right now to Totally Spies. But yeah, no, DC Superhero Girls is really big with like especially like children. So
Okay.
I would hope that was who wants to play Ninja Gaiden on the Switch?
Beats the shit out of me. That was a weird one to me.
Sigma's a hard game.
So
Yeah,
So
like
Dude,
the answer is, and this is why I think it's weird that they spend direct time on this, but I guess whatever. Oh, hang on.
If you have
Oh,
Joy-Con
okay.
drift, that game is impossible to play.
Well, yeah,
Like,
but I
literally,
mean,
literally
like-
impossible.
Well, you got to play that
like
game
if
with the Pro Controller.
yeah.
yeah,
but-
or the
Well,
weird
the-
Pro
but-
Controller
but
thing
then-
for
yeah, with
handheld that I've got.
or the Pro Controller that has the fucking like false inputs.
The thing with this is, and this is why it's weird they spend any real time on it in a direct, is that game is for people who don't have game consoles or a gaming PC and who don't play a ton of games, but who have a Switch and go, oh, I remember Ninja Gaiden, and then buy it because they're
And
like,
then go,
I'll
this-
play Ninja Gaiden on my Switch.
I guess
with a
it'll
beer.
play about as well as it did on the original Xbox.
I mean, the fact that those games aren't very good is besides the point.
No, yeah, no, I'm not. I'm just talking about like sheer performance. Like those are not games you want to play at like 30 FPS. Like you know,
yeah.
like you can, but like that's not the way you want to play Ninja
Yes,
Gaiden.
but
Well,
I-
same with Apex, frankly.
Yeah.
I think that the Switch Pro will be coming before the end of the year, and that's where part of those announcements come from.
And it's like one of those things where they keep denying it, but it's like, of course they would, because
Yeah.
they don't want to like bastardize the sales of
They
their
very
console.
carefully deny it in ways where they're like, we have a lot of lifespan left in the Switch,
Right.
which is like,
The
well,
last thing they
yes.
said was like, we don't have anything to announce anytime soon. We've got like the Monster Hunter and the Mario or whatever, the other special edition. Like we've got other special editions coming. So like, you know, figure this summer they'll probably announce it.
Yes, I was going to say also,
time.
we don't have anything to announce anytime soon means at the next direct to me, which I didn't think they were going to announce it at this direct. I assume April or May, is when they're going to say like, hey, coming this holiday.
They have to get past the Monster Hunter special edition.
Yes.
Yeah.
But even that's never stopped people from buying like consoles.
Notice that.
But I mean, it's like they really just wouldn't want to like bastardize the sales in any particular way, especially since the Switch is like currently like sales are
they're gonna
ridiculous.
sell all of them anyway. So like,
But if you
Right.
look at the fact that Skyward Sword, they're putting out Joy-Con for it, and a Pro Controller.
Okay, those Joy-Cons are real cute.
They do look sick, but
they're gonna put out a special edition Zelda Anniversary console with.
It'll be a Switch Pro. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe.
Is
Maybe.
that those Joy-Con? I bet the Joy-Con won't change on the Switch Pro. You'll be able to use the same
of
Joy-Con,
course, yeah.
and that's why Skyward Sword has Joy-Con and a Pro Controller, but not a full console. Is because
It's not ready.
They don't want you to they don't want to plan a full console for like whatever that game's coming out summer, like a special console. So I'm still confident that the Switch Pro will come later this year, and I'll probably buy one because
it might be early 2022, like because that was like March was when the Switch came out.
Yeah,
so like
getting pushed for sure.
then, but
be planned for that. But I think my biggest issue with the Switch is the performance. So if they 60 FPS Switch games, I could definitely see spending more time with it then.
I still wouldn't unless they put out something like a Bayonetta or something I actually want to play that I can't play anywhere else.
I would be spending time with that, playing Age of Calamity and Bayonetta and that stuff that I want to play for sure. But right now, the Switch, even games that I know I would like if I played them on Switch, like I would play more Splatoon if the performance were better, frankly. So like Splatoon 2. So yeah, that's more what I'm getting at is like there are games I would like to play on Switch, but sometimes I turn them on and I just am like, I don't like the way this runs, which is a me thing because I am used to playing games at higher frames. So I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people are. So it's like, especially like Nintendo's never going to be like number one in terms of like graphical fidelity or anything.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
But I mean, also, like performance is one of those things where it would be nice if the Switch was better. And I think that like a Switch Pro with better performance would be, I would love it.
I need to speed golf at 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
But speed golfing if it's at 30 FPS.
I want Wario in his golf outfit in 4K.
That golf outfit is real good. Did you see? I saw a tweet that said nobody. I can't remember if one of you shared it, but it said nobody, absolutely nobody, and then said people from Dallas.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
So true.
But yeah, the performance thing just gets us back to these directs are really good for people who only play on Switch, like who do not have like a primary console with a Switch as a secondary, basically.
Yeah,
like
which is cool.
Which is fine. I have no problem with that
for me, the
at all.
Switch is the absolute last place I want to play anything. Like I don't like the controllers. Like I hate like all the controllers. Like for like Nintendo games it's fine, but
convenience of it often overrules the less than positive.
It's behind my TV. I'm never getting that thing out.
Yeah, see, for me, now as somebody that plays it like 99% handheld, like
Same.
it is the convenience aspect that makes me want to like.
I literally think it's too heavy to like really enjoy handheld.
Get some free weights, baby.
Yeah, do some weightlifting.
No, like for like if I'm playing handheld for the
holding things.
Wow, full circle, brought it back on me, turned it back. That's good. You finally parried and riposted me.
What's the lore of your?
No, like it was playing Hollow Knight on the Switch, like handheld, just like. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm never playing handheld again.
I had a very similar experience, and I never thought of it that way, but it is kind of the last time I played a game on Switch handheld extensively.
Like, the buttons are bad. I wanted to lay down and like play, and like it's too heavy to hold like over your face, and like you can't do like the on your stomach. Like it's just
I can't hold things over my face because I don't like the feeling in my hands when I lose circulation in my hands. I hold my hands up too long.
It's a bad scene. Like
that's not the Switch's fault though.
That's just the world tendency.
Yes, that's our world tendencies.
Yeah. Well, there's character tendency too. So you've got bad character tendency. That's what that is. But anyway, I just don't like the Switch.
What if you could instead have a presentation that was about fewer games but on more platforms
that I also don't want to play
from a very specific developer,
from one company?
From one
part of one company.
As a person who has a passing interest, at least in every Blizzard franchise, I thought that BlizzCon was fine, but it was very funny to watch everyone else go, like Sam, who only cares about Diablo, and then was like, that fucking sucked. And I'm like, what? They showed Diablo stuff. Why do you think it sucked? They didn't show enough Diablo stuff, and they showed other games. It's like, yes, that's how it works.
I can see why the Overwatch fans were pissed, though.
Yes, totally. That makes sense.
What did they show for Overwatch? Because I know they showed
They
some,
showed
like,
nothing.
nothing.
Literally nothing. 2 seconds of gameplay at the
So
very end.
we're talking about in the keynote. They did have an Overwatch panel at some point where they showed stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But in the keynote there was zero Overwatch stuff at all.
That's very funny.
That's not true. They said, we know our Overwatch fans are excited, but we don't have shit to show. So
yes, they showed
watch
nothing.
their panel.
So they also, my favorite moment of the whole keynote was when J. Allen Brack was like, so we've been showing you games that are from our vast history of, you know, beloved IP, and we know that you love everything that we have, blah, 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 blah. But also here at Blizzard, we're focused on bringing you new worlds and new experiences. Our teams are hard at work developing new IP that's exciting for the future. And like all this stuff. And then it's like, he like showed pictures of their office and stuff. And it was like, and, you know, and then he was like, we're going to have more on these new experiences in the future. And then just hard pivot to like, fucking like, I don't remember, WoW Battlegrounds or something. It was like, just
why
like,
did you even bring that up?
we assure you, we do have other games than what we're showing here that are in development. So weird. I got excited for a new IP trailer. I was like, holy shit, I would love it if they did something new. And then like, but we're not going to tell you anything about it at all, other than we assure you it's happening.
What is a popular nerd franchise that they can rip off now? Because
superheroes, World of Heroes.
It's well, that would be an MMO, but I totally bet I could see Blizzard saying we're going to make a cooperative superhero game.
But, I was going to say it's basically Overwatch.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess. But I mean with like capes. Like well, I'm talking like go all out. Also the other moment that made me like, I felt like, you ever feel like yourself sort of like leaving your body a little bit because you're so like get to the fucking point on something?
Yep.
Is when the Diablo guy was like, obviously they're going to announce a new class at BlizzCon.
Oh my God.
And the Diablo guy was like, one of the most important things about Diablo is classes. And we know that you love classes. We love classes too. What are your favorite classes? Do you like classes? I'm really excited because we've got a new class to announce today, and it's one of my favorite classes. And
like,
we're going to tell you all about this class. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but it's like,
class
tell you,
is in session.
Yeah, we have like we're going to announce this class today with this announcement trailer, and it's really exciting, and you're going to love it too. So in a few seconds now, we're going to cut to this trailer, but I'm going to continue talking about how excited we are about announcing a new class. And then the trailer starts, and even the trailer is like this like dark screen for like 5 or 6 seconds, and then it very slowly pans up. And I just was like, tell me what the fucking class is, please. For God's sakes, I just want to know.
And by the way, it was a rogue.
And it looks awesome.
It does. It looks good, but it was a weird trailer.
Was Rogue not already the Demon Hunter would, I guess, be the closest? They got like caltrops.
So
okay.
It's based on the Bard, I want to say, but like a takeoff of that. I mean, they're doing classes they've done before. Druid is in D4.
Yeah.
So it's not, and I want to say Amazonian is in D4, whatever. But I don't know. Diablo 4 looks good. I don't understand. It looks like Diablo to me. A few of my friends have been like, oh my God, it looks so incredible. And I'm like, yeah, it's a Diablo. I mean, it looks fun. I'm excited to play it, but I don't know that I'm like fawning over the visuals. It doesn't look as colorful as Diablo 3, which I guess people didn't like that about it. So cool. I guess now it's more morose again, which I like that too. So whatever. Well, but I like colorful things also. And Diablo 3 looked cool.
And then they also did like reveal Diablo 2 remaster.
Resurrected. Thank you very much.
Okay, whatever. They very smartly left Warcraft 3 Reforged out of the discussion.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
They mentioned StarCraft, which people seem to be happy with that remaster. But they were like,
I totally missed that they even
it might have been in a tweet or something. I don't know.
But The Diablo 2 thing I'm kind of excited about because I never really connected with that game, and I have a friend who it's like his favorite game of all time, and so we're gonna play it together, and he's gonna shepherd me into finding the fun with that game. But it also seems kind of cool. Like it's coming to PC and console, and you can get you have cross progression between the two. There's a bunch of like UI improvements to it as well, and the visuals are like hugely overhauled. They're wildly better. It looks cool.
And Tony Hawk is a new class in there.
When they showed the class select screen, I was like, is this actually Diablo 2 resurrected? Because this looks damn good. And apparently Diablo 2, the original Diablo 2 runs underneath that engine at 25 frames per second. And then they overlay all of the new, like everything on top of it. It's like one of those style remakes instead of the like Tony Hawk thing where they rebuild it from scratch. So it might actually feel like Diablo 2 and play like Diablo 2 and not just be like a facsimile of it, which is kind of cool. I don't know. There was nothing in that BlizzCon stuff that made me, or I think anyone go, oh, holy shit. But it was fine. The WoW stuff was cool.
No, what did make people go, holy shit? And we don't even have this written down as news, was the fucking DMCA Metallica shit.
Oh my God. That was so
hilarious.
Funny. And they were like, first of all, what's his name? The guy who played Hodor, DJ at the beginning, and was actually not bad.
Showing me pictures in our chat,
DJ.
and I was like, "What's happening?" Yeah,
he was pretty good. I
What,
would have
Christian
DJ,
Nairn?
Yes, if I was at Electric Forest and he was on like a mid-sized stage, I would stand there for a while and smoke someone's weird weed that they passed me, and
he and
vibe.
Shaq should get together.
Oh God, yeah.
Totally.
DJ Shaq.
But that was funny and cool. And then they cut at the end of the keynote to Metallica, and I was like, well, I don't know. My Metallica days are kind of past me, and they're kind of assholes. But then they started playing For Whom the Bell Tolls, and I was like, this song still fucking rips. I love this song. This is a great song. And then they sucked. Like they were not very good.
And then the Twitch stream just like casually cut over to like some random 8-bit royalty-free music while Metallica's still playing. No, it was during the stream. It was
I
during
watched
the
it on
live
YouTube
stream.
and they didn't cut away, but it's probably because YouTube Music has like better licensing. Like,
well,
like
they're probably going to stand up to the DMCA stuff a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I found it so funny because Metallica is the one who got all that DMCA shit in there.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yep. So on Twitch they overlaid like 8-bit folk music. Was that what it was?
Yeah, it was just like royalty-free 8-bitty kind of.
What's so and it's so funny because it's not like there was a crowd listening to Metallica play. Like the entire purpose of them playing was so that the streaming audience would hear it.
Yeah.
And it just once again shows how broken Twitch is.
Yes.
Like just like as a platform, as like a service, like the DMCA stuff, their community stuff, they're just a mess.
Yeah.
But
but that was just very funny. That was my favorite part of the BlizzCon stuff.
That is pretty good. All right, let's see. Next news story out of our announcements for the week. Good news, everyone. You can now import maps, your own maps from Hitman 1 if you didn't buy like the early version of Hitman 3 and Hitman 2 into the PC version of Hitman 3 for free now with a website from IO. Was it easy, Pat?
Have you done it yet?
Not yet.
Yes, the answer is yes. It's very easy as long as you did the weird account linking shit before to get your save data. The page is like, I swear, please IO, let me write your web pages or something. Like you click on it and it's like, please read this page in its entirety, and it's like a EULA of like, here's all the stuff that could happen if you fuck this up. don't fuck it up. And it's like, here's a detailed layout of like, here's what the UI for this system looks like, and here's what it's supposed to look like, and here's how it looks if you fucked it up, and don't do that because then you're screwed. And then all you have to do at the bottom is click import Hitman 2 data, or import Hitman 2 levels, and you click it one time. The page doesn't even
leave you to prepare.
Yes, the page doesn't even like reload or anything. It just like, the button gives you a little bit of feedback, and then a check mark turns green on the UI thing above, and then you're done, and that's it. It's literally one click and it's done. It's like, why did you make this seem so scary and complex when it's one click?
And
it worked.
It got you all the gold edition stuff, like the full.
Yeah. You actually click once for importing the Hitman 2 content, and then once for importing the expansion pass, like.
Gotcha.
The like extra content. Yeah.
All right. Well, so yeah, that's good news. The PC version is now complete.
Yes, I'm excited.
The world of assassination is whole.
Yes,
I'll play some more of that.
Totally. It's gonna go to Whittleton Creek.
It makes that game much easier to recommend.
Yeah, on PC, like that stuff was available on consoles before, but yeah, now like they got that whole Epic Game Store, Steam stuff figured out.
Basically, yeah.
You can read my review on Fyx.space.
Good game.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next up, we got another video game movie, y'all. This time it's not Jack Black in Borderlands. It's no Chun-Li in the Mortal Kombat.
It sucks.
That was so funny.
It was so funny. And then that they put the update in there, and people were like, well, they finally Googled it. And it's like, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so is it Australian made? That Mortal Kombat movie is coming out this year, next year. When is this coming out? I don't know.
I didn't watch the trailer, to be honest with you.
I caught
There's a really good trailer.
Let's see.
I think it was later
Kombat
this
movie.
year. I'm pretty sure.
Let's see. Mortal Kombat trailer reveals
April
Goro,
April
Reptile,
16th.
Shao Kahn. April 16th. Yeah, people will definitely be in movie theaters then.
It's on HBO Max.
With these kinds of trailers, it's not that I'm not interested in the movie, but it's just like, it's good to know that it's coming, but I don't want to watch the trailer because I want to see all the cool shit when I watch the movie. You know,
That's very fair. Yeah.
I'm sure, it's a 2-minute trailer and it's a 90-minute or more movie.
Well, it's showing off a bunch of characters. So
yeah, I kind of want the surprise, I guess.
It was a good trailer. They showed, like, it looks more faithful to the video games in terms of character design and costumes and all that kind of stuff. And, it looks great. And I think my favorite part of all of this, I don't know if y'all saw this, but the lead producer, his name's Todd Garner, his reception to all of it and like seeing people being so positive, like he was basically like super tearful and really excited because he's so proud of what they've been doing. And so to see, like, usually people are pretty quick to pan video game movies and find fault and shit on it, but because people were so positive, like Todd Garner was just like, yeah, he just seemed chuffed. I don't know, he was very emotional. It was great.
Somebody that doesn't know anything about Mortal Kombat is the theme song in the new movie, and I'm assuming no, but that is an oversight.
It might, who knows? Maybe there'll be a slow orchestral arrangement.
Oh God, that sounds so awful.
with dubstep.
There's a children's choir just singing Mortal Kombat.
Get over here.
Scorpion.
Wait a minute. Why isn't there a Mortal Kombat musical?
Zero. Oh my God. Spider-Man, turn off the dark status. Like, why?
Yeah.
Let's see. It looks like there was a Mortal Kombat live tour, but it was like the martial arts. But it had dancing and music in it. But I guess I don't know if there was like singing.
I've got an extensive cast here.
Have any? I mean, kind of unrelated, but have any of you ever seen A Freak Like Me Needs Company?
Oh my God, yes!
From Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark?
There was a while where I was
yeah.
watching every video I could find about Turn Off the Dark because
I hadn't seen it, and I saw it pop up on Twitter this week, and oh my God. Holy shit.
Turn Off the Dark as like a
How did they get people to pay money to watch that thing?
it's Spider-Man and it was on Broadway. I don't fucking know.
It's Spider-Man. Like,
You
it's
mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
it's like yes, it's a Spider-Man skinned thing. It's as Spider-Man as like Spider-Man
Also,
and Fortnite is Spider-Man.
I mean, like, to be honest, I do wish I would have, if I had been in New York at any of the time that Turn Off the Dark was on, I would have paid to see it, if only because of the utter train wreck of it all. Like, it was like, it's like so notorious, like both in like Spider-Man fan communities, but also like Broadway fan communities.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like,
I knew it was a bad musical, but seeing that clip, I was like, wow, I could not have even imagined how bad this is.
No, it is like
worse than
notoriously terrible. I mean, like, at least Cats has like some catchy songs.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
Maybe we'll get the Spider-Man the musical, the movie.
And like, okay, from what I understand, A Freak Like Me Needs Company is like the least worst song.
Oh my God, really? Holy shit.
It's like the one where people are like, yeah, that's kind of fun. You know, it's not good, but
Oh, it's
like,
fun, but not for the right reasons.
But like, you know, the rest of the music, like that's the one where you're like, oh, you know, I want to watch that guy like run around as the Green Goblin and ham it up. Like, that's fine. But no, the rest of the music is notoriously really bad.
So you know how there's all the rumors. Oh God, you know how there's all those rumors about like Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire in the next Spider-Man movie. But what if they went like just whole hog?
My God!
They put Spider-Man the musical in there, and like, you know, they did the live action Spider-Verse, and they got Japanese Spider-Man, the Emissary from Hell.
And they did that. What if they also had the gamer Spider-Man, but there were like the CG models of them?
And what about like the 70s, 60s, 70s cartoon Spider-Man? Like,
Yeah,
the one
also
pointing
there.
at himself.
Yep.
I mean, that showed up in Spider-Verse, but
It did. Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyways,
so
MK
Mortal
looks
Kombat. I'll watch that.
I'll watch it too.
I'll totally watch it. Yeah.
I like Mortal Kombat. Those games are great. The story is so dumb. The latest story was so dumb.
I don't have
know if
any
of you got to
nostalgia
the end
for
of
it really, but I do. I think it's you're not wrong.
If you like that, you should play Kingdom Hearts.
did you know that the third build character on Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark is the Greek character of Arachne?
What? Okay.
Yes. It's the
Third
third
build.
character after Fear and Mary Jane.
Arachne.
It's Arachne.
You know what? Fuck it. If I would probably pay to see that if I saw that on a poster and
there's
was like
a-
Spider-Man, Arachne.
They have a whole thing where there's a like a chorus, like it's a Greek chorus, but it's the geek chorus.
Oh my
I'm
God.
out now. I'm out.
I need to watch this.
I'm out.
There's also multiple versions because they vastly they put it out and it was so bad that they were like, okay, we're just gonna scrap everything, but we still have to keep a bunch of these props and a bunch of these sets and a bunch of these costumes, so we're gonna figure out how to put this in the new one. And so they completely rewrote it after the previous.
I wonder,
it is the most wild Broadway musical like story.
I wonder if this is why they just gave Spider-Man to Sony entirely, because they're like, look, you do okay, we're never licensing it to anyone else ever again.
I was just reading about why it canceled, and dang,
There's like a lot of like catastrophes with cast because of
there
the
was some
stunts.
pretty serious injuries that happened to the cast.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
We don't have to get into that, but
No.
dang.
I mean, looking at that
Speaking of
scene, it does look like it was pretty elaborate. Anyway,
Speaking of catastrophes
Hey.
and cinematic adaptations of video games, there's going to be a Dota quote unquote anime.
Yeah.
I think it's just a cartoon. It's animated.
I don't like that trend in calling cartoons that are just like Avatar: The Last Airbender is not an anime.
No.
No,
It is
it's
inspired
very much
by-
anime inspired.
Yeah, absolutely, which is fine, but it's not an
Yeah.
anime.
Yeah. So there is a Dota animation coming out soon on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's cool. Dota has some interesting lore. I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting. It seems like it's focusing on Dragon Knight and Mirana, which is a weird pairing, but sure. I mean, I don't think, other than Pat, anyone here even knows what those names mean.
Yeah, they're pretty tied together in the lore, though.
Dragon Knight turns into a dragon.
He does.
Yeah,
That's all.
That's his ultimate. You hit R and he turns into a dragon.
He's got a sword and a shield, and
good character for new players in Dota.
He is, and Mirana is not. So,
No,
are either of you going to watch this?
sure, I'll watch it.
Maybe. I'm not.
I don't know.
The Dota lore is fine. It's nothing like insane.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So it'll probably be good, I guess. I don't know. It depends what they do with it. I might watch an episode and then we'll see.
Yeah, I have no expectations for this thing. If I watch an episode and it's cool, great. If it could easily be bad. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm not gonna be doting over the Dota animation.
I would much rather a talented animation team make a new cool fantasy world and do a show about that. I don't think Dota needs an adaptation, but whatever.
Yeah, there's plenty of good fan animations if you want those too. So.
All right, and
call that fan.
I'm gonna call this our last news story of the week. The rumor mill has spun back up around Silent Hill. I've been just like, oh, it's gonna happen. Sony's got it.
They do.
Yeah. But
the fog is lifting, Andre.
But so I was a little dismayed this week when rumors started suggesting that Bloober Team, creators of The Medium, The Blair Witch Game, The Layers of Fear, was actually maybe working on it and would be revealing a big IP they're working on soon or this summer, when also is it Akira Yamaoka? Yamaoka, the composer for the Silent Hill games, has hinted that this summer there will be the Silent Hill reveal. There will be a game reveal, and it's the quote unquote one you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
I think it's a coincidence that they're both saying summer because
but Yamaoka worked on The Medium, so like there's history there. But there are also other reporting that says no, it's not. It's not.
I think Bloober's working on what I heard is Bloober's working on Siren, which is like not a huge franchise, but maybe it is to them. I mean, again, they're in another continent, so another territory.
Yeah. So Video Games Chronicle was saying our reporting says it's a prominent Japanese studio, which could be Sony. They said it's not Kojima.
I know they said it's not Kojima. I still think it is.
It could be.
I think if anyone
it'd be great if it was.
I think Sony funding that game doesn't want people to know. They want to have their prestige reveal. They're going to throw up lots of smoke screens to make it look every which way. I still think it's Koji Pro and Del Toro and Ito working on it with him.
So good.
But what if it was Sega? And Kiryu needs something to do. He is a marked man. He has to be he has to hide. Where better to hide? It's in Silent Hill.
You know what?
I can think of a lot of places.
Right. Who was the lead dude in Sleeping Dogs? I could see that guy being a good Silent Hill protagonist too.
Do not want that team to make a Silent Hill. Yeah, Way is
that team. That team doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, no, I know.
United Front.
That would be a very good Silent Hill game. I just want Silent Hill beat 'em up where Kiryu is just like suplexing these nightmare creatures like in the streets of Silent Hill.
No, that's my not
running around and getting like weird side quests. Imagine the side quests in Kiryu starring.
You gotta find the dog.
What arcade game would they play?
Silent Hill 1.
House of the Dead
for arcades. Yeah, House of the Dead is a good one actually.
My like E3 prediction, I would Hail Mary it as far as Koji Pro, published by Sony, PlayStation 5 exclusive.
Yeah.
You know, Kojima, Junji Ito, and Guillermo del Toro all working on it, and Mads Mikkelsen is the star that you play as. I would even go so far as to suggest
Reedus. They're gonna Norman Reedus.
I think he plays a side character.
I am
gonna
too
crank his hog
scared to
alone.
play most games like this, but I would throw my money at that game.
And it'll be Mads Mikkelsen looking for his wife.
Junji Ito, Mads
is Norman
Mikkelsen,
Reedus, but-
Guillermo del Toro. Like, let me watch.
And it'll have I seriously think I think Kojima's going to try to keep working with all of those people.
Oh, 100%.
Like he'll have like
he's
a
got a
Nicholas
book coming
Winding
out.
Refn, like a subplot directed by Nicholas Winding Refn.
God.
Winding? I never know how to say his name.
When I don't. That's yeah. So maybe it'll be Koji Pro.
I hope it's not Bloober Team.
The you can read my review of the medium on Fyx.space, where I get into a lot of the problems that the medium has beyond just its technical stuff. But yeah, their like messaging and like in a lot of their games sounds like it's very not good. Like, so this one has like some really lame stuff to say about trauma and like what it does to us as people. And
specific
the medium, yes, the medium.
Yeah.
Blair Witch game has some stuff about PTSD. The Layers of Fear, I believe, has some stuff around suicide or like terminal illness, disability. Maybe I can't remember exactly. I was seeing a lot of stuff. I can't remember which game is which. There are some other games they have, but they've got some problematic stuff in their messaging in their games or their stories, which is a bummer because they make some interesting stuff, but it
would be surprising if, I don't know, I mean, who knows, but Silent Hill is kind of, to my understanding, sort of opposite in that it handles a lot of those pretty heavy subjects with pretty deft hand, I guess.
Deft touch,
Yeah.
sure.
And it's pretty smartly engages with themes like trauma and abuse and stuff. So I would be surprised if, I mean, I guess Konami is not like doesn't necessarily know how to pick them, but if Sony's involved, I would be surprised if they would hand that kind of that source material that is, I mean, Silent Hill is pretty fraught with rough stuff.
Yes.
And to hand that to a team that has a mixed history with their ability to engage with heavy topics like that seems unlikely to me. But
the conclusion they seem to always draw is, oh, you can't fix it, just give up.
Yeah.
Like that seems to be how Bloober takes it. So that wouldn't be great.
Yeah. So hopefully that it is not Bloober Team working on Silent Hill, but it seems more and more likely that something is happening. We just have to wait and find out who it is. Come on, Sega. Come on.
What other?
You get Sonic
It's
running through
Nintendo.
town.
Oh God.
No.
Nintendo presents Silent Hill.
Oh God.
No.
And it's a remaster of the first game, not Silent Hill 2, the one everyone likes, but the first
And
one.
And Guichi's in
people
there.
people like. the
Oh,
first one
okay.
enough.
Let me
Yeah.
let me buy that for Guiji.
Yeah,
I
they
really
would do
do.
only the first game.
I want them to do. I would love it if someone would make all 4 of those original 4 games playable. You can get like 3 and 4 on GOG or whatever, but
Shattered Memories was really good.
yeah, I haven't played them because I was too afraid then. But now, after I played Amnesia Rebirth and it
Watched
didn't
a
really scare me,
playthrough.
I would like to play them.
I've watched like Let's Plays of all of them. Not all of them, most of them. I wanted Downpour to be good. I was going to play it, but then it wasn't good. So then I was like, okay, well, skipping it, I guess. Well, does anyone have any other things they want to touch on? No? Okay.
I hope that they show a trailer for Elden Ring in the Jeff Grubb Summer Game Mess this year.
What do you
Which
what
has
do you
already
think the
started.
chance-
I got to say
What-
this
what do you
every
think-
week so it manifests.
What do you think the actual realistic chances of that are?
This year? Oh, 100%.
Okay,
Yeah, I think they will at some point. I don't think that game's getting canceled. That would be crazy to me.
I think they're just taking their time with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like it's more like bigger, like maybe more ambitious than anything they've made before. I don't know how to
speculate that
say
it's an open world game in a more direct context, less like winding paths that circle back on themselves, and more like a Dragon's Dogma kind of like large open space where you're moving from like town to town where there are people and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that speculation is based on people wanting that. I don't know that there's anything really there.
I think there was something with like job listings.
Yeah, maybe.
There was something about horses.
Yeah.
Like, so people think there are going to be horses in the game. I don't know.
I mean, there are horses in Demon Soul or Dark Souls.
Horses you can ride.
Yeah, I know. Not horses that try to run you over in a chariot circle.
No, yeah. Majora's Mask, chariot circle, horses. That's a good game. Put Majora's Mask on the Switch. God, for the love of God, just do it.
Nothing better
It's
for
already on
the
the-
inside of a man than the outside of a horse.
Just pick up a 3DS, Andre.
Karen has one, but I don't have. I told this to the chat. I don't think I told it on the podcast. I was at like a secondhand store, and they had GBA. They had an SP. They had a new 3DS XL.
Nice 3 things in the cart. Yes.
There were more, but the GBA SP was more expensive than the new 3DS XL.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would expect that.
By like
I would expect that
like
too.
$30.
Okay,
Yes.
was the SP also like the backlit one? Because like
Yes.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
SP were all backlit.
no, they
those
were
are
some of them were frontlit.
Some of them are
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I have
like
no
there
idea.
are certain ones that are backlit, which is like less common, but also the backlighting is a lot nicer than the front lighting.
Yeah.
So like people seek that out.
I think one
don't
could
know.
make an argument that the backlit GBA SP is the best handheld of all time.
I would
I could see
agree,
an argument.
except for the fact that I have a modded GBA that has
Yeah,
a
well,
backlight
sure.
that slaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, I never had an SP, but I was partial to the GBA.
I am extremely excited for when my analog pocket comes
Yeah,
because
I'm
that might
jealous.
be
Oh,
my
hell yeah.
favorite.
The hands are too close together. Like if that was a GBA form factor, now we'd be talking. But like
I say that all the
form
time.
factor, I don't know. You throw still plenty of meat on that bone. Throw in some potatoes, you got a stew going.
Yeah.
That's gonna do it for episode 160 of the Gaming Fyx podcast on February 20th, 2021. Head over to fix.space, look at some reviews, podcasts. What was your last coding fix, Alex?
It's on binary.
Okay, so we're still on that. Okay. I just did the comic fix. That's what it's called. Comic fix with Sam.
Oh, what's his name? Whatever that show is.
But yeah, hey, it's 2 a.m. Did comic fix with Sam where we talked about WandaVision episode 7 and did some manga. There's gonna be, I don't know when that's going up. I don't know.
Wednesday. Well, theoretically Wednesday.
With the last one went up late. You can find that where they talk about episode 6 and some other comics. I forget what it is. I got it right here. Radiant Black and Black Widow. To get ready for the movie, I guess. I don't know. You can head over to the fix.space, see that, reviews, all that good stuff. You can find the podcast on Twitter at Fyx Podcasts, on Twitch at Gaming Fyx, or twitch.tv/Gaming Fyx, whatever that is. Podchaser.com/Gaming Fyx to leave us a review, help us improve the podcast, all that sort of good stuff. Or if you're on like iTunes or wherever fine podcasts are reviewed, leave us a review. It'd be appreciated. Tell your friends, tell your parents. We're a parent-friendly podcast.
Tell your
Definitely.
dog.
Yeah,
Tell Gritty.
Tweet
Yeah.
at
Everybody,
Gritty.
Yeah, tweet at Gritty that we have
I
a
wish I could talk directly to Gritty. Oh, if we got Gritty to be a guest on this podcast, holy shit.
Does Gritty have a
What's
canonical
stopping us?
voice?
I don't think so.
Probably, but yeah, I don't know.
Just Chelsea. Is the Pittsburgh the Chelsea Dagger team? They play Chelsea Dagger when they win.
It's Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
I literally,
whatever.
This is not a joke. I literally had a dream last night that I was doing
Because
like
the Penguins are Pittsburgh, right?
Yes.
I literally had a dream last night that I was doing like a comedy show in Pittsburgh, and I was like, I'm so close to Philly, and I can't make a Gritty reference because of that rivalry. And
no, you can. Fuck the Penguins. Fuck that team.
I don't know. I just was like, I'm in the state of Gritty, and I'm not talking about Gritty, and that's not acceptable.
I'm in a state of Gritty too.
I can't imagine a more. That's my fantasy, is getting to do a comedy show in Pittsburgh and pissing off everybody in the audience by
yelling about
referencing the
Gritty?
Flyers.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Gritty cannot speak.
Okay, then let's get Gritty on the
Episode
podcast.
is a state of Gritty.
Turn off the dark, featuring Gritty.
Stop that! Don't record this part. One of
Gritty,
us could just get a Gritty
company.
mask. One of us could just wear a Gritty mask. No one would know.
We live in a society.
Yeah.
For now.
For now.
Gritty mask.
So
Etsy.
yeah,
Oh God, these are horrifying without the rest of the costume on.
if you've got
Costume, what are you
geez.
talking about?
if you have a line on a Gritty mask, send an email to gaming@fyx.space, or if you have just any questions about games or thoughts.
There's so much Gritty stuff on Etsy.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
surprised?
100%.
Born to Die, World is a Fuck, Kill 'em All, etc. with Gritty's face.
I am starting to get like I want to start learning how to do embroidery, and if I have to embroider something that's Gritty themed, like
Oh, I found it. I found the podcast art.
No, good.
okay.
I look forward to it.
I don't think we can really use this because somebody else actually made it. But anyway.
Anyways, Andre, sorry to interrupt your outro.
No, it's okay.
God,
Oh my God.
Wow.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Wow.
You gotta quickly message whoever made this and get them to sign off on
Put it in the show
To
notes.
describe it so that we are actually making good audio content, it is Gritty mixed with Majora's Mask, and it is wonderful.
It was posted in September 2018, so
You've met with a
I'm sure
terrible
they're
fate,
still
haven't you? Thanks to Jeff Davis for making our intro and outro song. This is great work. You can find me, Andre, aka your partner's favorite moment in Lord of the Rings, on Twitter @CoolSloth, COOLSL4W.
I forgot that's where we started this.
Yeah. Pat, where can people find you?
you can find me on Twitter @PJCPlays, and I guess shopping for Gritty masks.
Allison.
You can find me on Twitter @WRITERSERENYTY.
And Alex.
Might watch Turn Off the Dark after this.
You
Strong
and
choice.
Allison should do a watch party.
Oh my God, let's do it.
I don't want to join that, but you should do it, and then I can watch the live reactions.
I gotta go to bed.
I want to join a clubhouse room where you provide commentary to Turn Off the Dark without actually having to watch it.
Do it on Twitch, and then when the music kicks in, we just switch it to an 8-bit thing.
No one's gonna DMCI
There's
the
a-
music from Turn Off the Dark.
Hey, it's on the YouTube, so
There's J. Jonah Jameson pounding his desk. I want
this
me
is
as a
like
Spider-Man.
this is like an audience like fan cam, or like somebody filmed it from the audience. There we go.
Hell yeah.
Stay wet, Gritty.
Oh. Wait, do you think Gritty is always wet?
This has been discussed,
To
not
stay.
here, but it's come up in the lore a lot, and I think the answer is he just sweats a lot.
Oh, I need to make this. This is a Gritty hat that's been crocheted.
Okay, I'm leaving this. I'm done with this.
Gritty Fyx. Okay, bye.
Bye.